Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here on my YouTube channel. I am, of course, your host, the returning, at least for now, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we talk about our favorite things in the world, movies, movie news, TV shows, and streaming, and all sorts of good stuff. And joining me on this day, that hopefully I make it through the whole show, sitting right beside me here is Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how you doing
John,
today?
I have to say, Chris did a fine job when you were gone, but she isn't you.
That's very true.
So it's great to be sitting next to you, and welcome back, and I hope you feel good.
Well, thank you so much. I do feel pretty good now, whether or not my cough will go along with it or not, but I feel good. Sitting right beside, of course, who was filling in for me, did such a great job, Chris Carr. Chris, how you doing?
Thanks. I'm great. I'm glad to be back over here so I can be a weirdo again. That was a lot of pressure.
That over here, all of a sudden,
Yeah.
you gotta like watch yourself a little bit more.
A little bit more.
Sitting over there, monitoring you guys in the live chat, joining you in fun discussion. Ray Ora is here. Ray, how you doing?
You know, shout out to Irene Jobson, and I believe it was Mr. 47, because we played that Ninja Turtles game.
Hell yeah.
We had all 4 turtles, and the game is super fun. I suggest everyone play it. It's just a fun game. It's really easy. Pick up and play. Yeah.
And running the show today, as always, producer Jonathan Boyko. Jonathan, good to have you here, my friend.
Thank you. Never let them see you sweat. You guys have no idea how onto the wire I made this show run.
Well, there was a jackknife truck on the highway?
Closed 2 lanes on the 60. It was not fun.
And it wasn't my fault.
It was not Chris's fault.
And oddly enough, you didn't get caught in it,
No.
which is really weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to break it down into 2 parts. In the first half of the show, we're going to talk about some predetermined topics. And in the second half of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. Now, to get a live comment or question on, number one, you've got to be watching live. But then when we get to the end of our main topics, we will announce that we're opening up the super chats. That will be your time to fire in a comment, question, thought, or opinion. But be quick, because we only leave the super chats open for just a couple of minutes. Also, a little bit of housekeeping. If you guys need your audio-only version of the John Campea Show, good news, there is a podcast version simply called the John Campea Show podcast. Just go onto your favorite podcasting app of choice and search for it and subscribe to it today. Also, there is a secondary podcast feed just for Mailbag, so go ahead and subscribe to that one as well. Okay, guys, with that down, let's get on to an off the top, shall we? And that off the top is this. You know, right now there are 2, for the first time ever, there are 2 premium Disney Plus shows that are running at the same time. They drop at the same time every week, and that's Obi-Wan and Ms. Marvel. And if you'd asked me a year ago, John, which would be the better of the 2 shows, I easily would have said, well, obviously it's going to be Obi-Wan, but it's not. Ms. Marvel is, Ms. Marvel has come out of nowhere to surprise me and delight me and just fill my heart with joy. Oh my God, there was a scene last week where they're talking about the older brother's goth days, where wearing spike bracelets, working at Hot Topic. And then the dad sitting there at the table talking about this as well. This is why we came to America, so our children could be whatever they wanted to be. Mm-hmm. And I got weepy-eyed. My grandfather, my grandfather Giovanni, who I'm named after, who died last year. I remember 2 years ago with Anne, we were visiting Canada 2.5, 3 years ago, just before the pandemic. And my grandfather telling the story again about how he came from Calabria, he came from Italy. He had to leave his children and his wife behind as he came over to Canada to establish, because there wasn't enough work where they were from, to establish something there, get a job, get a home, then went back, got his family, came over with my grandfather Giovanni, came over with his family and his brothers, Carlo, Vincenzo, Romolo, and Segarlo. And they all came over with their families, and the whole Italian tribe came over to give a better chance for a better life for his children and his children's children. And I'm sitting there watching this as the dad's telling that story, and I wanted to weep. It was so beautiful. Anyway, I'm fucking loving this show. I love Ms. Marvel so much. Anyway, you shouldn't be surprised, though, to find out that the numbers have just come out for the ratings on Ms. Marvel. And they are officially, by far, the lowest rated debut for a Marvel show. So basically the numbers broke down to something like this. WandaVision debuted with something like 1.6 million, I think, something like that. Ms. Marvel came with about half of that, just under 800,000. Now, that actually is not surprising, to be honest with you. And I'll tell you 2 reasons why it shouldn't be considered surprising. Number one, this is by far the newest Marvel character that they've tried to put on screen so far, right? Like, not all characters are as old as Captain America and stuff like that, but Ms. Marvel is truly a relatively new entry into the comic book pages. Even though Ms. Marvel has some followers, it is by far the lesser known, not to mention, when you look at the commercials for it, it really does look like it almost looks like a Nickelodeon show in a way, like maybe the best Nickelodeon show of all time. But when you look at the trailers and the stylings of it, so it doesn't really look like it has that type of an appeal. But number 2, and this is probably the most important, we mentioned that this show airs and it drops at the exact same time as another little property called Star Wars. And that is, of course, Obi-Wan. And, I remember we talked off camera back then. It's like, well, it's going to be interesting to see how that's going to do ratings numbers wise for Ms. Marvel. But clearly that had a big impact as well. Here's what I'm curious about, guys. What I'm curious about is, what is week 2 going to look like? Because what I believe is, pardon me, I believe we're going to see the same pattern that we saw for WandaVision. I think we're going to see a week over week, if it maintains the quality that it has, and we don't know that it will. But if Ms. Marvel is able to maintain that quality, I think we're going to see a week after week, that audience is going to grow and grow and grow and grow. So I'm going to be very curious to see the week 2 numbers, but not terribly surprised to see it's the lowest of the bunch so far. Rob, you saw that. Are you surprised by that, and what do you attribute it to?
No, I mean, look, like you said, the show I think is a delightful show. It's really well done. We've always talked about how Marvel has tried their hands at different genres. This is the teen girl, John Hughes-esque, call it what you want. But that's what I think the appeal. It's a show with a protagonist that has a teenage girl at its center. Marvel fans, if you're in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, is it going to be the first thing that you tune into? I mean, the same thing would be true of like Clueless. When Clueless came out, I didn't initially run out to the theater to see it, only because I think when it came out, I was in my, late 20s or 30s or something. I'm like, it just, the subject matter wasn't the first thing that appealed to me. And I think this is going to be the show that older audiences are going to come to discover because it's not at the top of their viewing list. I'll be curious to see 6 months from now where this is in terms of their viewership, because if the show is great and entertaining, it's going to be one of those things where I'm not telling my friends I'm going to watch this, but I watched it and I loved it. I mean, and that's the thing. I think that we live in a world now where I think a lot of people delineate their entertainment too much. I think a lot of people like you dipped into this and you were immediately captivated by it. I've heard friends of mine, one in particular, who a Pakistani Muslim, said this show has the best representation he's ever seen of his own Muslim family portrayed in any media ever. And I haven't seen a lot of those takes, but he's somebody who would know. And I'm like, that's fascinating that they've, not only is this a good show, but they've really taken the time to portray a family, kind of like Kim's Convenience, the way you,
right, yeah.
And they've really leaned into that. And I think you can tell, I mean, I don't know how authentic it is. It feels authentic to me. And so I think there's a lot in this show that's there's a lot to like. And I think a lot of people haven't discovered it yet. And I think they will.
By the way, they have to make a spin-off show of the Illuminantes.
I love the Illuminati.
The Illuminantes are the best.
The Illuminantes.
What have you been thinking about the show? Because you and I haven't had a chance to talk about since episode 2. What do you think about the show, and what do you attribute to the fact that it has significantly the lowest rated numbers so far, at least for its debut episode?
I love this show. I love it so much. And I love the kind of comparison here to Clueless because of things like the Illuminatis. I think it has the potential to be a big zeitgeist kind of show.
Yep.
This has so much room to have lovely killer lines like, "You're a virgin who can't drive." I'm waiting for these moments. I think part of the problem here is, one, it did get review bombed. And if you do pay attention to that kind of thing, maybe that also turns you off from this. Oh, it's getting really bad reviews. I'm not into this kind of show already. This looks more like To All the Boys I've Ever Loved than an Marvel show. I'm going to pass on this. That could be part of it. The other potential problem here, though, too, is a lot of these Marvel shows have not been sticking the landing.
True.
We've been
Yeah.
really, really fizzling out over here, right? We started strong, and now it's been a little more hit and miss. And especially when you hear those limited episodes, it's been really rushed storylines at the end, right? Where it's, and now we're done. So people might just be passing on this. I don't know that character, and Marvel shows haven't been really delivering for me. I'm going to go watch Obi-Wan, which is a damn shame because this is so much better. It's very different, It's very, very different. But for me, this is the show that I'm watching at midnight. I'm watching Obi-Wan in the morning when I'm grumpy.
So you raise a really, really good point too, because I mentioned like, hey, it's been great so far, but who knows if it's going to, because even I, who have been absolutely loving this show, even I have a good, healthy dose of pessimism in me because like, listen, obviously WandaVision is the exception. WandaVision was amazing from frame one to the final frame. That show just, it killed it. It stuck the landing. But none of the Marvel shows have replicated that. You know, some have been pretty good. Some have been pretty good. But none of them have been able to replicate that, whether it's Falcon and Winter Soldier or Loki or, you know, Hawkeye, which I didn't even like all that much. Moon Knight had flashes of brilliance in it and then moments that it really didn't. So even I am a little bit pessimistic to see how it goes. And they have just not been able to bring that level of quality, that consistency in their quality that they have in their MCU film-wise to here. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Anyway, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this? Number one, what have you been thinking about Ms. Marvel overall? I think it's the best thing they've put on Disney Plus since WandaVision, but that's only after 2 episodes. Let's see if 6 landing. And why do you think, what do you attribute to the fact that it has by far the lowest ratings, at least for a debut episode so far? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys, with that down, and before we get into our main topics here today, we want to thank one of the brand new sponsors of the John Campea Show that has honestly delivered me my best night's sleep I have had in decades. The good folks over at Helix. Guys, we want to take a second and thank the sponsor of this video, Helix Sleep. Guys, let me tell you, just a couple of days ago, Ann and I received our Helix mattress, and it is the best mattress we have ever slept on in our entire lives. We had like this $3,000 specialized mattress that we got like 5-6 years ago, and we liked it very much, but this one completely outdoes it. It's night and day. And you can get matched with your perfect mattress too. See, Helix Sleep has a quiz that takes just like a minute to complete, and it matches your body type and sleep preferences to the perfect mattress for you. Why would you buy a mattress made for somebody else? With Helix, you're getting a mattress that you know will be perfect for the way that you sleep. I hopped online, took the Helix quiz, and Anna and I were matched with the perfect mattress for us. And it is so easy to set up. Simply take it out of the box, get it positioned on your mattress, take off the plastic, and then give it an hour or two to breathe to reach its full size, and you will not believe how comfortable this thing is. All you got to do is go to helixsleep.com/Campea. Take their 60-second sleep quiz, and they'll match you to a customized mattress that will give you the best sleep of your life. And it's risk-free. They have a 10-year warranty, and you get to try it out for 100 nights. They'll even pick it up for you if you don't love it, but you will. Helix even has financing options and flexible payment plans, so a great night's sleep is never far away. And here's the best part. Helix is offering up to $200 off of all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/Campea. And a big thanks to our friends at Helix Sleep for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. Guys, I cannot emphasize this enough. It is the most comfortable sleep I've ever had. It's just been amazing, and I'm very, very happy about it. All right, guys. With that down, let's now move into our main topics here today, shall we? And how do we select our main topics in the John Campea Show? It's really rather easy. You see, you guys come up with them. Whenever you come across a big topic, issue, or story that you guys feel we need to cover as a main topic here on the show, just go anytime 24/7 over to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you're going to see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. It's absolutely free. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on the John Campea Show. With that down, Chris, what is our first main topic today?
Our first topic comes from Vincent R. Hey, everyone. Hope John is back and feeling better. One of those things is true. I know John is a big fan of Guy Ritchie, so I was hoping to hear his and everyone's thoughts on the confirmation that he'll be directing another live-action Disney film. But this time, it's Hercules. Apparently, it's going to be a live-action version of the animated film, but I haven't heard if it's going to be a musical or not. Is Guy the right guy to do it? What are your thoughts?
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in. And listen, if you guys have been watching me for any period of time, you know that Guy Ritchie is actually one of my favorite directors. I mean, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, Snatch is in my top 20 favorite films of all time. I can watch that every year and laugh just as hard every single time. The Germans, without exception. It's absolutely fantastic. But it was really curious when they came out and announced that they were doing a live action Aladdin movie. And they said it was going to be directed by Guy Ritchie. And even I, big Guy Ritchie fan, was like, is that really the right direction to go? Oh my God. Yeah, it was. Because I love that live action Aladdin. I was so pleasantly surprised by it. Nina Massoud, Will Smith. Will Smith did such a great job of playing the spirit of the genie without ever trying to do a Robin Williams impersonation, which was going to be key. And he took that genie. There were a couple of moments he did a great homage to Robin Williams, but he did a great job of taking that, making his own. And a lot of that goes back to the director. Couldn't believe what he did. Whether or not there's going to be an Aladdin 2, which it looked like a sure thing for a while, and now with recent events, who knows? It sounds like they're moving forward with him on another live action adaptation anyway. He's going to do a live action Hercules movie being produced by the Russo brothers. This comes to us from the good folks over at Variety, who wrote the following. Guy Ritchie, who directed Disney's Aladdin in 2019, is set to direct the upcoming live action adaptation of the 1997 film Hercules, Variety has confirmed. As Variety previously reported, Avengers Endgame directors Joe and Anthony Russo's Agbo is producing the film being developed by Disney, which hired action specialist David Callahan to write the first draft. Agbo is currently in the process of hiring additional writers. Okay, so the first question that I heard a lot of people bring up online was, if it's an adaptation of the 97, will it be musical? And I heard some people say, well, no, they'll probably obviously not do this one musical. I'm like, well, wait a minute, time out. Did you not watch Aladdin? I mean, they pretty much did it as a musical. So while it is completely possible they may decide to go non-musical route in this, totally possible, I honestly would be a little surprised if that's the case. I think they're probably going to keep the same musical numbers. I think they're going to do what they did in Aladdin, which is introduce one or two original songs as well. And by the way, I can't remember the name of it exactly, but the one that Naomi Scott sings, the original one about, I won't stay quiet, blah, blah, blah. That song rocked. I mean, that song was incredible. So if they can introduce a new original or two into this as well, I think that's great. So listen, again, if Aladdin never happened, and they announced today that Guy Ritchie was directing a live action adaptation about, it's like, what, is Hades going to be Bricktop? I mean, I'm like, what? I would be like completely confounded. But having seen Aladdin and what he did with that, that's pretty great. Chris, you hear about this. What do you think about the idea of a Guy Ritchie directing Hercules? And here's another question. Do you think this could be a replacement for Aladdin 2? Do you think that maybe they thought, we were going to do Aladdin 2. We're going to put that on the back burner for a while. But let's start with your general impression of this. What do you think about him directing a Hercules?
Well, he did a great job on Aladdin, which I was in the same camp as you of just, really? Yeah, we're going to take a rock and roller approach to doing Aladdin? Okay. But it worked. It worked really well. I loved
But in a way, you're not wrong.
You're right.
You're not wrong.
It still had a lot of those elements, just, a little less violence, a little less C words and such. I think he's great for this. And I love the 1997 animated film. No one should be surprised by this. I adore this film. It better be a musical adaptation because it has some of the best songs in Disney's whole catalog. Don't Say I'm in Love. Oh, I Won't Say I'm in Love. That song is so good. It's so amazing. And the muses, too, doing the great chorus role for the narration. I think you have to have music in this. So I definitely think it'll be that. I think maybe they are doing a little bait and switch here, though, with the Aladdin project. Because, we can't deny how well that film did, right? It was Will Smith's highest grossing film.
Join the $1 billion club.
Exactly. But how do you address it then? Do you recast him because he was obviously part of that movie magic? Do you just kind of shelve this for a while people forget about what happened and then he comes back for a triumphant return as the genie? Maybe you put a little palate cleanser in there like Hercules, who can go the distance.
Rob, you hear about this. Number one, the idea of doing a live action adaptation of that 97 Hercules film is interesting in and of itself.
Yes.
Adding Guy Ritchie, also very, very interesting. What do you make of this?
Well, like you said, John, Guy Ritchie is a great director. I love what he does with the camera. I love what he does with character. And the thing is, great directors can tell, they can work in any genre, I think, and they can tell great stories. If you look at what Guy Ritchie did with the Sherlock Holmes movies, for instance, there's a lot of, those are Those are characters come from literary canon.
I really like his Sherlock Holmes.
Really
movies.
good,
Yeah.
right? And there's a lot of wit and verve to them. So if you look at Guy Ritchie's work, there's kind of the spirit of Robin Williams brought that spirit of anarchy to the genie, the way.
That's a great description.
And I think that while Will Smith wasn't doing, as you pointed out astutely, that he wasn't copying Robin Williams, there was a sensibility there. It seems weird to say that I think Guy Ritchie gets. Like, I remember when you and I went and saw The Gentleman. I
love that movie.
I loved it. But he has such a great way of. He doesn't just have great scripts, and he doesn't just direct actors well. He uses cinema, the language of cinema, to create moments, whether they're funny, ironic, and I think somebody who might, not a lot of studios would be like, let's get Guy Ritchie to do Aladdin. Somebody, and I'm not saying it was Kevin Feige, but somebody can make that leap. The same way Kevin Feige made the leap for James Gunn and Guardians of the Galaxy. Somebody was able to see that, and that leap worked. And I'm thinking, any big, broad, historical animation character. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody said, let's redo Tarzan animated, bring in Guy Ritchie. But I think a Hercules movie with maybe other Greek gods and everything that goes on in those times, that'd be awesome. I mean, to me, it sounds great. I'm excited. I want to see it. I really liked what he did with Aladdin, and I think what is not to love? But I do think they might be doing this to replace Aladdin. No Aladdin 2 for at least the near future. But hey, why waste what Guy Ritchie did? He made $1 billion movie. Let's get him to do something else. This is the perfect follow-up for that movie. And who wants to do 2 Aladdin movies in a row anyway?
I would love to see that. But I wonder if it's an issue of replacing it or if this is just a reshuffling.
I think it's a reshuffle.
Yeah, because you raised a really good point, Christine. You mentioned, look, you cannot now recast the Will Smith role.
No. And I don't think you should, frankly.
And you probably shouldn't either, right? But is now the time to go into production on that? I think this is probably, my guess is, Hercules was probably something they had on their roadmap.
Yeah.
But, Aladdin made $1 billion. Let's get that thing going before Mina Massoud starts looking like his dad or something like that. So let's do that. But this is probably, I'm guessing, pure speculation here, that this is just a swap. They're like, okay, you know what? Let's put off Aladdin 2 for a couple of years. Let all that other noise die down, and then let's get back into that. And in the meantime, let's do Hercules. I don't know, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? Guy Ritchie is directing a live-action adaptation of the 1997 Hercules animated film. Do you like the idea? Do you like the choice of directors? Do you think this was maybe a swap with Aladdin 2? Whatever you guys are thinking, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 2. Chris, what is our second main topic today?
This one comes from Rocky. Hey, John and crew. Hope everyone's doing well. Top Gun Maverick just made $44 million in its 4th weekend. That is the second biggest 4th weekend of all time, below Avatar and above Force Awakens and Black Panther. The legs on this movie are seriously insane. Industry analysts are now starting to predict a domestic finish above $600 million. There are only 11 movies in the history of Hollywood that grossed $600 million plus, of which 9 of them opened with $200 million, the other 2 being Titanic and Avatar, Cameron, the king of legs, and Top Gun opened with only $126 million, $106 million 3-day, 4-day.
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, Rocky. All right, look. A year and a half ago, I came back from CinemaCon. Me and Aaron came back from CinemaCon and told you guys, hold on to your butts. We just saw the first 18 minutes of Top Gun that's coming out next year. And it's incredible. It's really, really good. I'm shocked. Because up until that point, I'd been saying, you guys know, I'd been saying up until that point, a year and a half ago, this is too little too late doing this Top Gun movie. It's going to be a blip on the pop cultural radar, blah, blah, blah. Like, I was pretty pessimistic about it. And then they showed us those first 18 minutes. I'm like, oh. So then at this year's CinemaCon, they showed us the whole damn thing. And we were like, damn, this is a fun time at the movies. Came out I think it was the biggest opening weekend for any Tom Cruise movie in history. And my God, the legs on this thing is crazy. Now, while it is not the top spot at the box office, not even in the top 2, top 3, it just had a 15% drop week over week, which is incredible for this late in the game. But get this is an obscure number that we've probably never mentioned before, but it is significant. In the history of cinema, in week 4, only one movie in history has ever made more money than this movie. Think about that. And I can't remember the last time that the box office report showed 3 movies making over $40 million. Obviously, Jurassic World, Lightyear, and of course, Top Gun. I can't remember the last time we had 3 movies in the top 3 spots that all made over $40 million. So that's pretty good too. But the story right now is Top Gun. This comes to us from the folks over at CBR who wrote the following. According to box office analyst Gatesh Padya on Twitter, Top Gun Maverick earned $44 million at the domestic box office in its 4th weekend in theaters. Only 3 other movies in box office history have earned more than $40 million in their 4th weekends in theaters, including Avatar with $50.3 million, Star Wars The Force Awakens at $42.4 million, and Marvel Studios' Black Panther at $40.8 million. These earnings also make Top Gun Maverick the 2nd highest earning 4th weekend in theaters of all time, just behind 2010's Avatar. Overall, Maverick boasts a domestic box office total cum of $466.2 million. That is, of course, domestically. It is closing in on $900 million worldwide right now for this movie, which 2 years ago, I would have said never, no way. A year and a half ago, I would have said maybe. And then after seeing it, of course, I'm like, I didn't quite think it would get to $1 billion. I said it has a chance, it could get close, but it's going to cross the $1 billion mark now here again. Look, again, let's wrap our heads around this. No Star Wars movie has ever made over $44 million in its 4th weekend. No Marvel movie, not Infinity War, not Endgame, not Civil War, not Spider-Man, not Doctor Strange, nothing has ever made $44 million in its 4th weekend. Tom Cruise just did with a 36-year-old franchise. With a movie that doesn't even tell us who the enemy is.
Which is a smart move.
Which was a very
It's
smart
timeless
move.
now.
Absolutely smart move on its part. This is cinematic history that's just been made. And look, I'm not going to tell you Top Gun deserves a nomination for Best Picture at the Academy Awards. Honestly, it doesn't. But it's damn fun. This is a couple of things. First and foremost, I think this dispels the idea that only a Star Wars or a comic book movie can do big business at the box office anymore. Mm-hmm. And this isn't even like a comic book movie. I mean, this is more akin to a lot of other fare. But when you put out a movie that just puts smile on faces and excitement in the theater, people will go see it. We're in the same era right now where A24 has just had its biggest box office success of all time with Everything Everywhere All at Once. So we see some really good things happening at the box office as well. This is pretty impressive. Rob, you take a look at this. No comic book movie, no Star Wars movie, no Harry Potter movie has ever made as much money in its 4th weekend as Top Gun does. What does this tell you?
Well, I think part of it is the older audience has come out to the theaters after word of mouth hit. The reason that it's sustained is because people that weren't going to the movies are going back to see this movie in particular. I haven't heard, I'm getting up there. And this movie, more people are buzzing about this movie than any movie I've heard about, more so than comic book movies, because this represents nostalgia all the way back, almost 40 years of nostalgia. But I think the real testament to this is you have a star in Tom Cruise who waited. He's like, you know what? I'm not going to do this movie until the story's right and we can do it the correct way. And he said, technically, I want to have cameras that are in the cockpits. I want to be able to show something to an audience that they couldn't have seen before. So you have a star wielding their power in the proper way. And then he had a collaborator he'd worked with before in Joseph Kosinski. They'd made Oblivion together, so he trusted him. And then he brought in his major domo, Chris McQuarrie, to rewrite the script. He brought in his A-team. And they came together, and it shows you, I think, what collaborators that continue to work together in Hollywood. I would say that, Ron Howard and Brian Grazer are a team like that. Maybe not, they haven't had this kind of success with this, but I think that to me, this movie represents how Hollywood is supposed to work, and people make that's a 36-year-old franchise. That's not going to work. I'm sure Hollywood will now, let's take up every franchise that hasn't had a sequel from the 80s. That's not the way it works. I mean, this is a very special case. that was literally conjured up by people that cared enough and knew what they were doing, people that were at the top of their game. They earned the position that they're in, and they wielded their power, I want to say in a benevolent way, but in a way where they conjured up magic. And this movie is magical. Like you said, people who go to see, dude, you cannot watch this movie and not leave it without a big smile on your face. You get all the feels. You get the emotional wallop of meeting past characters and feeling that. And then you get the father-son relationship, the pseudo father-son relationship. You get aerial dogfighting sequences that are amazing. You get Kenny Loggins going to the danger zone again. I mean, you get the Top Gun anthem, Harold Faltermeyer's Top Gun anthem. You get Lady Gaga singing the song. I mean, I can't even imagine. An AI could not design a better piece of entertainment than this.
By the way, can you bring up that picture of Bob again for a second?
Sure.
I can't remember if we talked about this last week or not. But do you guys, somebody pointed this out. I didn't realize this. Did we talk about, I can't remember if we did before I went sick. Did we talk about who he is? That's David Pullman's son.
Oh.
The president from Independence Day. Lone Star from Spaceballs.
You mean Bill
Pullman?
Who did I say, Bob?
Somebody
David.
else.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Bill Pullman. That's Bill Pullman's son, who was a fighter pilot himself in Independence Day.
Well, now I can't unsee it.
Right? I didn't know this, so somebody pointed that out to me. I thought that was great. Anyway, Chris, you see this, you see like the second biggest, other than Avatar, no comic book movie, no Star Wars movie, biggest fourth weekend in history. What do you make of this? What do you attribute it to?
Man, I think it's just because you can see this movie with your whole family. There's a lot of trends on TikTok right now of people going and getting fake mustaches and aviators and getting their grandparents to throw those on and watch this with them when they go see the movie. I think it's cute as heck. For me, I didn't have the spiritual experience that Bobbert over here had. It's all these... I mean, proof it's real, Jonathan. All right? I don't believe it. Okay, there we go. Everyone's just trying to be you. They keep seeing you on camera after last week. They were like, man, that guy.
Miles Teller copied you, bro.
Exactly. But I really think it's because you can go see this as a whole family. This is something that everyone can go enjoy together. And let's be honest, a lot of the other movies right now are not having the great critical reviews that Top Gun had. So if you're going to pick something to go see and get out of the heat, it's probably going to be this instead of some of the other things.
By the way, bring up Bob again for a second. I just saw a couple people in the live chat saying that they thought it was me. Really? I don't see it, but a bunch of people in the live chat are saying
you
it's
his dad?
Maybe I should be Bob.
Oh, dang.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you make of I mean, this, I'm afraid this is one of those little statistics that people are just going to hear. It's going to go in one ear, out the other. This is really significant, the type of money and success that it has, because that means people are going and they're going again and again, and they're bringing new people. This is an incredible result. What do you make of this? Why do you attribute it to that? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys. With that down, and before we get into our next topic here today, we want to take a second and thank another sponsor of today's show, an organization and a company I use a lot, and I have used them a lot over the years, our good friends over at Storyblocks. We want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of today's video, Storyblocks. Guys, I have been an enthusiastic fan and user of Storyblocks for years. I go to them whenever I'm in need of content creation assets like royalty-free music, video clips, or templates for my creative projects, ranging anywhere from little editorial videos to my very own full-feature documentary. Storyblocks helps you bring your stories, videos, and projects to life without sacrifices due to time, budget, or access to resources. They have over 1 million different story assets ranging from stock videos, audio and music, an in-browser video editor, and they feature pre-designed templates, animations, and outros. Storyblocks uses an affordable subscription model, and their unlimited access plans offers, well, unlimited video and audio downloads rather than a costly pay-per-clip model. With Storyblocks, you'll be able to create more content and, more importantly, better content, all while using a subscription plan that fits your budget, utilizing unlimited downloads of demand-driven and diverse content. So if you're interested in upping your content creation game, head over to www.storyblocks.com/Campea and get started today. That's www.storyblocks.com/Campea. And thank you to our folks over at Storyblocks for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. Again, I've used them for editorial videos. My own documentary, we use them a lot. Guys, go and check them out. If you're a content creator, they are a great guys to have on your side. All right, with that down, let's now move on to main topic number 3. Chris, what is our third main topic today?
This comes from 90s movie fan. Hello, John. There's no other way to say it. Lightyear dramatically underperformed during its opening weekend, making only $51 million. This is almost a third lower than projections, and it's not doing any better internationally so far. Considering the $200 million budget, this could be very bad news for Pixar. If Lightyear continues to do badly, could this signal the end of big-budget animation movies? Sing 2 and The Bad Guys showed the market is still there, but they also cost less than half of Lightyear did.
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in. Couple of things let's touch on here first. Lightyear was not projected to make $150 million opening weekend. So this idea that it only made a third of what it was, the real projections going into was probably around the $70-something million mark. Mm-hmm. Now, because I've been struggling with being sick the last week or so, I have still not seen Lightyear. My wife went to go see it. She came home in tears. She loved it. So I haven't seen the whole thing. Ray, didn't you go with her? Didn't you take my ticket and went with her? What did you think of Lightyear?
Oh, I liked it. I had no problem with it. I mean, it wasn't the best thing, but I wasn't excited to see the movie anyways. When it was first announced, remember when we did a trailer reaction to it, or we talked about the trailer? I was one of the people that said, we don't need this. I'm not excited for it. I haven't been into Pixar movies like I mentioned before for a while, but this was more like I just went because Anne needed someone to go. So I went, and then I actually liked the movie. I wouldn't have gone and went on my own and like got a ticket and watched it, but I'm glad I did. I thought it was fine. Yeah,
my wife loved it. She's just been, when are we going to go? When are we going to go? So she and I are going to go see it tonight. So I'm going to finally see it tonight. I haven't seen the whole thing myself yet. But even though it was never projected to make $150 million opening, they thought it was going to make more than it did. This comes to us from the folks over at NBC News that wrote the following. The film Lightyear was expected to open near $70 million in the US and Canada, according to industry analysts. Toy Story 4 launched to a commanding $120.9 million in June of 2019, according to ComScore, a firm that tracks box office data. Paul blah, 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 a senior media analyst at ComScore, said that some film goers may not have realized that Lightyear was a spin-off of the popular Toy Story saga, while others might have expected it to premiere on the Disney streaming service like the 3 previous Pixar movies, Soul, Luca, and Turning Red. He struck an optimistic note, however, saying, despite coming in with lower than expected weekend, Lightyear should benefit in the coming days as word gets out to family audiences who may not have entirely made their Toy Story connection, and that the film is only available in theaters. And that again comes to us from NBC News. So the question becomes, why did it only make $50-something million? It looked great. We saw the first half hour of it. The first half hour of it was magic. I haven't seen the rest of it yet. But why $50 million? Well, there's a couple of interesting things to keep note of. Number one, while $50 million is way below what was expected, the reality is, compared to other family animated films, it's incredibly successful. Think of it in this terms. The film Bad Guys that came out, right? It opened at $23 million. Went on to make $230 million at the box office, by the way, which is way more than I thought Bad Guys would have made. Sing 2 opened with $22 million. And now it went on to make over $400 million at the box office, but again, it opened to $22 million. In Lightyear, we are literally talking about more than doubling what other animated films right now coming out of the pandemic, when a lot of families haven't started going back to the theaters yet and all that kind of stuff. So for context, the 2 most comparable films here, Bad Guys and Sing, it made double than those. And Sing went on to make over $400 million. So that's not bad. The other problem I think Lightyear had was a little bit of confusion. Listen, there was a little bit of Solo in Lightyear, because when they first announced it, well, I love the trailers, I did, but when they first announced this film, a lot of people were like, why are they doing this? Like, so it's Toy Story, but it's not Toy Story. It's Buzz, but it's not Buzz. So wait a minute, Tim isn't coming back to The Voice? Chris Evans, okay, we love Chris Evans, but I think there was a lot of confusion about what the movie was and what it was not. However, I think the biggest culprit here, besides the fact that it is still pandemic era, families haven't been coming back in droves. We saw that with Bad Guys. We saw that with Sing 2. It did double as well as those did. All that's fine. The other thing they brought up in that article that I think is very telling, though, is the fact that Disney has spent the last couple of years conditioning audiences that their movies just come out on Disney Plus, particularly Pixar. This comes to us, listen to this. David A. Gross, who is the CEO of the Franchise Entertainment Research Group. This is an organization that all the movie theaters go to help them do their market research and understand what may hit, what may not hit. He said the following: Disney spent the last 2 years putting Pixar movies, Soul, Turning Red, and Luca, directly on Disney Plus, which has inadvertently conditioned people to expect to see the animation studio's newest releases at home. Disney has trained a lot of parents to expect that Pixar movies are at home. Robinson says, I wonder how much Lightyear paid the price for that. What's interesting is he made that comment before the movie came out. And while I don't think this is these two things, that the fact that there was a little bit of confusion as to what this movie was, the fact that the last 3 big Pixar movies in a row have all gone basically training the audience that their movies come out on thing, another consequence of that stupid decision that they made. I'm not saying those are the only 2 factors in this. Not at all. I think the trailers could have been done better. The one was really good, but a couple of the other trailers I don't think did a good enough job explaining what the movie was. There are other elements as well. But I think when you kind of look at the fact that it still did more than double as good as the other comparative family animated films that are coming out right now, combined with the fact that there was a little bit of confusion as to what this movie was, combined with the fact that Disney has been training people that Pixar films come out at home video, I think it kind of adds up that makes it understandable that it opened to what it did. The big question for me, Rob, is going to be, what does it do moving forward? Does it get word of mouth? Do the families that saw it tell other families, you got to bring your kids to go see this? Do people go back to watch it a second or third time or not? Again, Sing 2 opened to $20 million and it made 400. So if it follows that pattern, Lightyear is going to be just fine. The question is, will it follow that pattern? Rob, you saw the initial numbers for it. Many directors and filmmakers and studios would kill to have a $50 million opening weekend, but still, this is below Pixar standards. Although, by the way, it did outgross the opening weekend of the last Pixar film that came out pre-pandemic, which was Onward, which opened at about $32 million. But what do you make of this, and what do you think the future for Lightyear is?
Well, I think all the points you brought up were really great, but I do think that there is brand confusion here, much more extreme than people might think, because this is attached to the Toy Story franchise, rightly or wrongly. We delighted in the connection. You know, in 1995, Andy went to see this movie, and this is the movie he saw. No matter what, people expect a certain experience from a Toy Story movie. The experience of the camaraderie of the toys, you know, Woody and Buzz, Andy, but then there's Bo Peep and Mr. Potato Head and Slinky and the claw. What are those things called?
Little aliens.
The aliens.
Yeah.
You know, what are the? Do
Piggy
they have a
bank.
name?
John, how do you pronounce John's last name?
Ratzenberger. Yeah,
his pig bank.
I love. Yeah, all of those characters, rightly or wrongly. When you think Toy Story, anything, you have those characters are evocative in your brain. This movie, I love what they did with it, but look, family audiences are not. If you've got kids, you're not up on your Pixar meta storytelling. You're just thinking, hey, it's a Toy Story movie, let's go see it. This isn't that at all. And I think that it's irrevocably tied to what people think of as being a Toy Story movie, and it isn't that. So I think that there might be a level of disappointment, you know, in certain people, certainly in parents, when they're going to get this experience of what it is. I mean, and what's interesting too, the original Toy Story, I was talking with Mike Bodden about this morning, it was John Lasseter's childhood. A lot of the toys in the Toy Story movies were not toys of the 90s. You know, they were retro toys, like toys from the 70s when John Lasseter was a kid. And there was a space toy in the 60s called Major Matt Mason. I was just on the cusp. I was a little too young to get Major Matt Mason, but that's really when I even saw like a Toy Story the first time, I'm like, Buzz Lightyear is totally Major Matt Mason. It was a toy line that was big in the 60s that came out of the Apollo program. And so even Toy Story, the toys are retro. And this movie, even the thing that they're saying, when Andy saw this movie in 1995, even though kids in 1995 were not necessarily...
But remember, people at home never saw that. That was never part of the marketing, right? Only people who were in the theater saw that.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. I think that people think this is a Toy Story movie, even now. And they're not wrong, because it's Buzz Lightyear. It's called Lightyear. It's a Toy Story movie, isn't it? No, it's not. But the thing is, I'm hoping, like you wrote or read in the article, it's a wonderful, I mean, again, I haven't seen the whole thing, but it's still a wonderfully, beautifully made movie that is heartfelt. It tells a great story. It's got all that Disney goodness in it, Pixar goodness in it.
Because you loved that first 30 minutes too, didn't you?
Loved it. I loved all the retro sci-fi designs. I don't know. I mean, did you see the whole thing?
I still haven't. I had a whole bunch of auditions this weekend. So
Yeah, that's the thing. I worked on script notes, and I was like, I
just want to point out, in this room, the only person who's seen the movie is Ray.
Well, let me be completely honest. You know, it was a long day that day, and even at 1:40, somewhere in the middle, I may have gone into a small coma and just went to sleep for a second.
Ray.
But Anne said what I missed was good anyway, so I believe in her. It was like 10 minutes. Come on, what's gonna happen? But I saw
Snorlax
I did see
Lightyear.
You know, I saw the beginning, and then the middle was blurry, and then the end was good. So,
Chris, you're hearing about this. Look, we've read the comments and the analysis going on here. What do you attribute it making 50 something? Because the reviews on it are good, they're solid. What do you attribute this to?
I do think it is the learned behavior of Disney animation is streaming. It's no one's running out to the theater because I don't think it's at the forefront of your brain of, oh, we need to go take the kids to go see that movie this weekend, right? Because all the Luca, which was a beautiful film, right on streaming, right? Everything so far has just gone straight to streaming. So I think that's kind of just back of people's minds is the first issue. And then I do think there is that confusion that y'all were talking about is kids are familiar with the Toy Story franchise and they have a very specific idea in mind. Adults are too. We have a lot of nostalgia with that film, right? This was Pixar's flagship film with the Toy Story franchise. So I think too, maybe people are going in expecting some of that Tim Allen, more toy-based humor and get in sci-fi and are a little confused. I loved the first 30 minutes. I know people in the chat are saying that for them, a lot of them are saying the first 30 minutes were great and then it slowly dissolves from there. So maybe we watched a really great opening that, like a lot of Disney properties lately, are not sticking the landing.
Right now, I just been doing some math while you're talking there. I brought up the calculator.
People do a lot of math when I talk.
So, when you take the 51 million opening, the 50-ish million opening for Lightyear, when you compare that to Soul, Turning Red, and Luca, it made $51 million more than all three of those movies put together.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we point that out, that it actually made more than all three of those movies combined. I had $51 million. So question is for you guys. What do you think about this? I mean, again, double as good as its nearest competitor in this field right now, but still underwhelming compared to what we've come to expect from a Pixar film. Do you think it had more to do with like, wait a minute, is this a Toy Story film or not? Do you think it had more to do with, wait a minute, don't they put all Pixar films out on Disney Plus now? Or do you attribute it to something else? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys, with that down, let's move on to main topic number 4. Chris, what is our fourth main topic today?
Oh, it's a headache. This comes from Tyler. Reports are all over that Ezra Miller is officially fired after the Flash movie. I guess the Axe's Asla finally chopped him down also. How will this affect the ending of the Flash movie? Will they change it to officially write him out, or will they just simply say it's another universe? Interested in your thoughts.
All right, thanks for saying that in. And look, let's be very clear here. There have been some people online talking about it's official now. Warner Brothers has fired Ezra Miller. That is not true. It could be true, but it is not official. The Warner Brothers has made no announcements about firing. Now, you guys will remember, I told you a couple of months ago that I had been contacted by somebody at Warner Brothers, that they had held some meetings. I think it was Variety 2 days later confirmed that. And I told you guys like 2 months ago, they're going to be parting ways with Ezra Miller. The only question that was going to be left was, what do they do with this movie that they already shot? Right? Now, I brought this up once before, but it needs to be repeated again. This Ezra Miller situation is not at all like, say, the Johnny Depp situation was as they were going in to make Fantastic Beasts, right? Like, a lot of people are saying, well, they fired Johnny Depp right away. Why didn't they just fire Ezra Miller out of this Flash movie? Everybody keeps forgetting that there was big difference between the two situations. Number one, I think they had filmed like 3 days of the Fantastic Beasts movie when they fired Johnny Depp. This Flash movie's done. They had finished principal production on this movie years ago. I mean, a long time ago, their production had wrapped on this. This is a finished, completed movie. Because I guarantee you this, regardless of what has happened since then, if when the whole controversy about the Johnny Depp stuff had started after Fantastic Beasts and the Crimes or the Secrets of Dumbledore was already shot, they would not have removed Johnny Depp out of that movie. No. It would have been too complicated at that point. So it's two entirely different situations here. It is more complicated. But the questions become, what do they do with Ezra Miller now? And where are these reports coming that they've officially parted ways? Well, this is where it's coming from. It comes to us from a report in Deadline, but this is what Deadline actually wrote. There is no winning in this for Warner Brothers, one studio source tells Deadline. This is an inherited problem for Zaslav. The hope is that the scandal will remain at a low level before the movie is released. Yeah, well, good luck with that. And hope for the best to turn out. Sources have said, even if no more allegations surface, the studio won't likely keep Miller in the Flash role in future DC films. Now, that would mean replacing him in the future, but there is still a $200 million investment on the line with the first film, and Warner Brothers execs have to be cringing at each new press report. And of course, it got even stranger last week when Ezra Miller got on their social media and put out this weird series of posts, including one that said, "You'll never find me, I'm in another universe." And like some really weird cryptic stuff. Then later, Ezra deleted their social media account. I think they deleted their Instagram. So that's gone now, only making things even worse for them. So what was actually said in this Deadline report was not that Warner Brothers has fired Ezra Miller. They said that what is most likely to happen, their studio source said, which is what I told you my studio source at Warner Brothers said 2 months ago. What is most likely here is that Warner Brothers is going to part ways with Ezra Miller. And from everything that I've heard and understand, that is still the case. That after this Flash movie, which is already shot, there's nothing they can do about that. Ezra Miller will not be the Flash again. But it should be pointed out, despite the fact that Warner Brothers' source is suggesting that, and I have told you that same thing, it needs to be pointed out that that is not yet official. So while everybody's running around saying this is official, it's not official yet. But I believe that is what's going to happen. They're done. But that still leaves the $200 million question on the table of what do you do about this Flash? Now, look, I read all the comments. I understand it's easy to say, well, just dump it on streaming. Well, okay. You lose $200 million then. Look, the reality is if you put this movie in theaters and it makes $80 million, like forget $1 billion. If it makes $80 million, that's $80 million more dollars you will have in your bank accounts than if you just dump it on streaming. And that's easy for everybody else to talk about what other people should do with their money. It's easy for us when it's not our money on the line to say, well, just do that anyway. Who cares? It's just $80 million. It's just $80 million. Because I guarantee you put, with all the nonsense surrounding this Flash movie, you still put this out in theaters as is, it's still going to make minimum $120 million. Not opening weekend, but it's still going to make some money. Well, what about the other option? And we've talked about it many times, but it evolves with every new weird twist and turn this story takes. The other option, the unthinkable option, reshoot the movie. I can't even fathom that. Now, it is true that it probably would not, if you wanted to reshoot this movie from scratch, and the only change you make is taking out Ezra Miller and putting in a new actor to play Flash. It probably wouldn't cost $200 million this time around because the scripts are done. Your blocking's already done. You could probably get through and remake the movie much quicker than you could the last time around. Of course, you got to get Michael Keaton back and you got all the actors back. You probably got to pay them all again.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm guessing you could probably remake that $200 million movie with all the visual effects already banked and in the thing. You could probably remake this movie for $120 million. But now you're talking about, instead of a $200 million investment, now you're talking about a $320 million investment. And maybe that's worth it. Because, Rob, you know, I have said for a long time, redoing this movie is not an option. I'm starting to wonder about that now. Because let's say you put another $120 million into this. Well, that movie that at most would probably make like $120 million at the box office, now maybe could make $600 million at the box office. So maybe David Zaslav, with his very, very economically conscious acts and always worried about cutting costs, maybe David Zaslav looks at this now and says, you know what, we have a better chance to make money if we just bite the bullet. I sign another check for $130 million, reshoot this thing. I still don't know that that's the way they're going to go. Rob, you're hearing about this story now. Number one, do you have any doubts that Ezra Miller is done as Flash after this movie? And then number two, dumping it on streaming, release it in theaters as is, or reshoot the damn movie. What's their best option at this point?
Dude, to me, this is a nightmare scenario. I mean, as far as movie going or movie making is concerned, from a studio perspective, it's a nightmare scenario. I mean, they, meaning Ezra Miller, they are embarked in a career immolation phase. Like, I don't understand. If they want to burn their career down, I've never seen anybody do a better job of it. Mm-hmm. I can't. I really don't understand. And then the social media thing, they are very aware of what's going on to the point where they're now taunting everybody.
Yeah.
And after all of this that's happening, I at first I'm like, okay, if people are undergoing some kind of meltdown, that's one thing. But then to consciously know all the people you work with, all of your collaborators, all of your fellow actors, everybody, that the girl that plays Supergirl, what this means to her career. I'm like the unbelievable disrespect, not just to the people that they've been, that Ezra Miller has been in conflict with or whatever, but all of these people that don't deserve this, and all of the people that have worked so hard. And the thing is, this movie is supposed to be great. We've heard it's good.
We've heard very good things coming out
The reports are
about
that the studio is very happy with it.
Which is why I think even if you just dump it in the theaters, even with all the controversy, it probably still makes back some of its money.
I just don't think in this day and age, how do you consciously release a film like this to the public? Because rightly or wrongly, you're allowing such behavior. You're normalizing or you're saying that this behavior is somehow okay. We are going to reward you in some way, shape, or form for this horrible behavior where I just don't know how to do it. And even if you were to reshoot this film, then the movie itself, I just don't see that it could work. Maybe it could work. I mean, Zack Snyder certainly was able to put Tig Notaro in Army of the Dead. And I've looked.
Now, that was a much smaller only had
role,
a couple of scenes though.
Yes, it would not be easy. But would it be cheaper to reshoot the film? And then is it worth doing? I mean, that's the thing. And then, like you're pointing out, it's no longer a $200 million movie. It's a $320 million movie.
Yeah.
And how do you justify that? You're looking at it, it must make $1 billion just to break even with that kind of a marketing budget.
$850 minimum.
That's where you're going to go. And I'm fascinated to watch this. I think or watch what's going to play out. I think the only thing they can do, the thing is, what's going to happen in the next year if Ezra Miller just continues this kind of behavior? Where does it end? I'm now worried for them, and anyone who knows them. Like, where are they going to be? And I hope everybody gets the help they need, but it's not a great situation. But as far as the studio is concerned, man, I think they're probably going to either have to shelve this movie or put it out and just say we have to put it out. There's nothing we can do. I mean, we owe our shareholders, but then again, the corporation then is like, oh, so you care about money more than people's safety and more than people's well-being.
Well, I don't see how releasing this film is going to here's the thing. I don't think this is a case of if they release this movie, this isn't them rewarding Ezra Miller's behavior.
No.
It's Warner Brothers saying we refuse to allow us to be punished for Ezra Miller's behavior. Because ultimately, if they don't release this, it's not hurting Ezra Miller, it's hurting them.
Right.
And Warner Brothers had nothing to do, at least the current Warner Brothers regime that is as it exists now. This wasn't their fault. This wasn't their problem. And if they do release it, it's like all the damage has been done. I mean, the damage has been done at this point. So that doesn't answer the question. I mean, me saying that doesn't answer the question.
But that damage is ongoing.
And
it's not ending. And if it ends poorly, God forbid, hopefully it won't. I mean, the studio's really between a rock and a hard place.
But, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine this week about the fact that if you go to because obviously thousands of people are involved with the making of big movies. And I said, if you go into any of your favorite movies, there's at least 5 gigantic assholes who worked on that film. You just may not know who they are.
Yeah.
You just may not know who they are.
Yep.
Right? And if you just shelve this movie, and by the way, I don't disagree with you that shelving the movie has to be one of the options. I agree. Counterpoint to that would be, if you shelve the movie for one asshole, look at who's you're damaging and hurting. You are hurting all the people that worked on this. You are hurting the director. You are costing the studio hundreds of millions, which is going to cost, because I guarantee you, they lose hundreds of millions on this. There's 2 directors out there who are getting ready to shoot their Warner Brothers films. They're going to get a note saying, your project's been pulled. We don't have the financing for it now. So you got people who are going to lose their movies. You have these actors who in this, like you mentioned, the girl who's going to be playing Supergirl. I mean, there's a lot of consequences to releasing it. There's consequences to releasing it on streaming, and there's a lot of consequences to just shelving the movie too, to a lot of people that had nothing to do with Ezra Miller's behavior. And that's what makes this so sticky.
Yep.
It's really complicated, as you pointed out. Chris, you hear about this. Number one, do you think there's any chance that Ezra Miller continues to be the Flash after this movie's done? And what ultimately, and then what ultimately happens to this movie that doesn't exist?
Well, this movie doesn't exist, and I'm just so glad that I've been right this whole time. Let's focus on that. There's a win for me. I don't know what you do. I really, really don't, because I totally understand your point, Rob, of it. If you see giant movie posters of Ezra Miller as the Flash, if you see action figures in Ezra Miller's likeness, that does broadcast that's fine, kind of message a little bit. And that is not the job of the movie studio, right? To be the morality police, surely. However,
They'll get called on it.
They will get called on it. And this is my biggest issue with these things. We keep hearing a source from Warner Brothers is telling us, a source is saying this. No one is actually stepping up to the plate and saying, hey, we have a problem with this, and putting their own name behind it. And it seems like a very simple thing to do. Hey, if these accusations are true, I definitely think grooming children and harming women and doing all this stuff is bad. That's not a strong stance to take, to be like, wow, violence against women is pretty fucking horrible. It's easy. Just say it. Just say it. I did it just now. So I don't understand why someone from Warner Brothers can't just nut up and say, hey, we have a problem if these accusations are true. Just do that. That's all I want you to do. Ezra Miller will absolutely not continue to be in this franchise. Ezra Miller is in another universe, apparently. We don't even know. We don't know where Ezra is.
Is there in another universe?
Yeah. So, I mean, even if this gets released, they're not going to be part of the press junket. They're not going to be part of the premiere. They've already removed themselves from this franchise.
Yeah.
So Warner Brothers doing this whole let's wait and see is coming out much more like, let's see if he just fucks around a little bit more. Let's just see, because it's getting worse. It's snowballing.
They've removed themselves from Hollywood.
Yeah.
They will never work again. I mean, this situation, what filmmaker, what financier, anybody who's going to shell out, it's so hard to get movies financed, even independent films. I mean, The Perks of Being a Wallflower. I love that movie. I own that movie
Ezra
on Blu-ray.
Miller's
So
great
good.
in that
And Ezra
film.
is fantastic.
He's fantastic. Do I go back and watch that movie again? I would be hard pressed without the first thing I'm going to think about is they did this, and it's hard. I mean, I feel that way about a lot of films that I love, even though The film's like, do I not watch The English Patient anymore because Harvey Weinstein produced it? It's tough. But in this case, I mean, this is ongoing. I mean, in another universe, I'm wondering what's happening in that universe.
It is such a disservice, like you guys were saying too, to everyone involved in this project from start to finish, the actors, the crew, everyone who's doing post-production on this, to the community that Ezra's a part of on a greater whole. It's just, while Ezra Miller might be going through something, it's an explanation. It's not an excuse.
Yes.
Right. But this is, I want to point out too, that this is fairly consistent with Warner Brothers' playbook for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Don't say something publicly as a company that is going to hurt your upcoming movie, right?
True.
Look at what happened with the Ben Affleck situation. I told everybody Ben Affleck was out as Batman. Nobody believed me till a year and a half later, they finally made it official. But even at Comic-Con, when we know already, we now know for a fact that they've talked about it publicly. When Comic-Con came around, it was already done. Ben Affleck was out as Batman, but they didn't tell people. They had Ben Affleck get on stage and say, I can't wait to be Batman for Matt Reeves. I'll act like an ape for Matt Reeves and Batman. Remember he said that? It was already known he was out. But they didn't want the narrative to be this big negative thing. Ben Affleck's out when they're trying to promote a Justice League movie that was coming out. I think they're doing the same thing here. I think they're just like, let's not talk about this until we know what we're doing. Because if they decide they're going to reshoot this movie, they're going to come out and say, we can't abide what's been going on with Ezra Miller. We've parted ways with Ezra. We're going to reshoot this movie. Ladies and gentlemen, your brand new Flash, Ryan Gosling. I don't know. I'm just making the name up. So maybe something like that happens, but I think they're going to play quite, I'm not saying I agree with them. But I think their mentality right now is until they 100% decide what they're doing with this Flash movie, they're probably going to keep their lips sealed and not say anything until they make that decision. And man, what a mess.
You know, there's 120 days you get if you pay someone with a credit card, you could do a chargeback. I'm just saying, maybe they need to extend
Take his money back?
They need to extend that chargeback policy. I don't know.
Well, there's contract. That's another thing. There's contract law. I mean, he might very well be, you joke about it, but he might very well be in violation because his contract might say, look, you're obligated to participate. There is in actors' contracts that they're obligated to participate in marketing.
Well, every contract also has a for cause breach.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that Warner Brothers could cite a for cause breach here.
Yeah. And for me, someone who doesn't really pay attention to these things are just horrible. No matter what. I don't even care about this movie anymore. It doesn't matter to me. Black Adam is next and Batgirl for me. Like, it doesn't matter if this film comes out or not anymore.
Or just relabel the movie, edit 30% of Ezra Miller out, and relabel the movie The Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, or
Batman is back again.
Or
Electric Boogaloo. I mean, I don't know.
add a third storyline in it. And you don't have to reshoot Ezra Miller stuff. Just downplay Ezra and add somebody else. I mean, they try to do, there's a movie that came out called Supernova that James Spader was in. It was a science fiction film. I think it went through 3 different directors. They kept reshooting it, rejiggering it around. It's not great. But that kind of thing doesn't ever work. But with something like this, you still have the appeal. I mean, switch the marketing over to Michael Keaton coming back as Batman.
Make it about Batman.
Because that's huge, and change the storyline. The funny thing is, like, it's known as a Flash movie. Call it Flash, like we talked, Batman Flashpoint.
Yeah. I mean, that works too. I mean, anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you make of this? I think it's pretty much understood. I think everybody understands and acknowledges now that Ezra Miller is done as the Flash. The question is, what do you do with the stuff they've already shot as the Flash? In particular, this movie. Still a lot of options here on the table for them. What do you think is going to happen here? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys, we are now going to open up the super chat. So if you have a thought, opinion, observation, theory, or question that you'd like to send in to us, we are opening up the super chats right now. You can go ahead and start firing those in. Remember, guys, they're only open for a couple of minutes and then we need to shut them down. So you're going to have to move pretty quick on that. But before we get to those super chat questions you guys are sending in, let's take a second to thank another sponsor of today's video. I'm wearing them right now. They're so comfy. Our friends over at MeUndies. We want to thank the sponsor of today's video, MeUndies. Guys, it is summertime, which means you got a lot of great fun plans, but make sure part of those plans is wearing MeUndies. Because MeUndies wants to make this summer the most comfortable one that you'll never forget, because when you're living your best life in the summer, the last thing you want to worry about is butt sweat and junk swamp. Listen, when you're feeling comfy and feeling good, you're more present to enjoy all your summer plans. It's like science or something. MeUndies has the lightest and most breathable fabrics to keep you cool and comfortable wherever you go. From undies, bralettes and socks, loungewear and swimwear, you can find something for all of your plans. MeUndies also releases new prints all the time, like their limited edition Pride collection. You can match with your partner, friends, or even your dog. Find your ultimate summer comfort in sizes extra small to 4XL. You guys know I have been wearing MeUndies for a couple of months now, and I will never go back to regular underwear. And right now, MeUndies has a great offer for all the viewers and listeners of the John Campea Show. For any first-time purchasers, you get 15% off. For a limited time, if you sign up for their free-to-join MeUndies membership, you get 25% off your first membership item. So to get 15% off your first order or 25% off your first membership item and a 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/Campea. That's MeUndies.com/Campea.
And thank you once again to everyone over at MeUndies. Guys, remember, if you use that code, you too can be wearing the underwear that John Campea wears.
What happened?
Lucky you.
What
All
happened
right.
to him? It was just a dream he was here.
He's already faded back. He's in another universe.
Yeah, they took him.
Well, before we get into all of our super chats, Ray, you've got some member chats,
Yeah,
right?
I just wanted to announce
Sweet.
that Chase Scott, he gifted 5 John Campea memberships earlier. So thank you, Chase Scott. We got one from Adrenaline Night. If you can look up Sasha Ruiz, an actor, and tell me if that doesn't look like John. All right, we'll have to look him up. And I got one more from White Hawk. He says, I'm curious if Hercules is going to be a little more accurate to the myth, or it's just going to be the animation in live action. Either way, I'm intrigued.
Oh, well, thank you for writing all those things in, guys. Sasha Ruiz does look like a jacked Campea. I can see that.
Wow, I can see that too.
And then as far as the Hercules movie goes, I definitely think they're going to take the more Disneyfied version of it. We're not going to have Zeus and Hera fighting and trying to murder their son.
I just love the way
I
it was
think.
put. Is it going to be more true to the myth?
Yeah.
I love that. But no, I think they're going to use the Disney version as the basis. And true to the myth, does that mean like they'd speak in Greek?
They do have those really great Greek jokes, though, where it's things like 2 words, I'm retired, because in Greek it's actually or more words than that. Yeah. They do cute stuff like that.
No, but I think they're going to stick close to, as a live action adaptation, it's that version of.
Oh, for sure.
Story.
I think so, too.
Which, by the way, I like that.
I love that one.
I like Hercules.
I think it's real cute as a musical. And I like it that Zeus isn't just, becoming a bird and doing all kinds of shenanigans with people.
That's true. Oh, yeah, I wouldn't go there
No.
either. Not in a Disney movie.
No.
All right, what's next?
Let's get into the super chats. All right, from Andy. Today's episode should have been named The John Campea Show, The Return of the King. Grateful to have you back, John, and glad you're doing well.
My friends, you bow to no one. Hey, listen, it's I've been going stir crazy, man. I've being able to watch these guys doing the show in my stead. I mean, it's been, first of all, depressing that I haven't been here, but also really exciting being able to watch these guys run the show without me. It's been really awesome. So thank you guys to
had fun.
all of you for being here too. All right,
Batman Beyond, baby.
Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond.
From Josh Kahn, the pandemic was horrible for the box office. The studio has come out of the strongest, Paramount. Quiet Place 2, Scream, The Lost City, Sonic 2, and now Top Gun Maverick. What a comeback to the top.
Yeah.
Dude, listen, we've been talking for years. Paramount's holding on by a thread. Paramount's holding on by a thread. Oh my God. They came out swinging. And they have done so freaking well. They've had success after success after success. Hell, even their damn Paramount Plus is doing pretty good. Wrapped up watching The Offer. Oh my God. That show.
It's a lot of fun.
Got to get nominated for a lot of different
Matthew Good as Bob Evans was so good.
You and me, Bubby?
So
Always
good.
Bubby. People got to say Bubby more. All right, what's next?
From Rose Swan, sending in an almost $20 super chat. Thank you, Rose. Spider-Man and Batman fans are feeding well in these few years, while Superman fans are starving. And Flash fans just want to go on a diet at this point.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, life is good if you're a Spider-Man or a Batman fan. A lot of stuff out there. They gotta figure out this Superman thing. But from everything we've been hearing, that is a priority for David Zaslav right now, is getting this Superman situation figured out. Because listen, with or without Henry Cavill, my God, I want it with. But with or without Henry Cavill, you've got to get moving on Superman. Yeah. I mean, you can't have a comic book cinematic universe and not have Superman as a major part of it.
It's crazy that it'll be 10 years next year since Man of Steel came out, and we have not a solo Superman movie in all that time.
Oh, crazy.
Absolutely. How does that
crazy.
happen?
All right, what's next?
From Haunted Autumn, watched Spiderhead on Netflix and was pleasantly surprised. Hemsworth Teller were a delight. Top 10 of 2022 so far for me. Have you seen it? Thoughts? My dad was watching this yesterday.
I sat down the other day, hit play, got a call that completely distracted me for the rest of the day. And then I never got back to it. I need to watch this. I think the trailers have been really interesting.
Yeah.
Miles Teller's in this.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's Joe Kosinski, director of Top Gun Maverick, who directed it.
I will proclaim it right now. This is the year of Miles Teller so far. Between Top Gun, which he's great in, The Offer, which he should probably win an Emmy for.
He was great in that too.
And I'm hearing really good things about Spiderhead. So, I mean, this is kind of Miles Teller's year right now. Now all he needs is another crack at being Reed Richards. All right, what's next?
From King Tannic, Campea returning like Optimus did in Transformers Age of Extinction, the best Transformers movie.
Oh, come on.
As he calls the Autobots out of hiding, he's alive. Optimus, or in this case, Campea, is here. Hound.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good comparison or not. I still remember the when they killed Optimus Prime in that godforsaken Transformers animated movie. A movie that only exists. I'm talking about the animated one in the 80s.
You got the power.
You got the touch. Ding, ding, ding. By the way, what was the other movie that featured that song?
Boogie Nights.
Very good. So I should tell you something about it. Anyway, where they killed, the whole point of that Transformers movie was to kill all the Transformers, to tell all the children, time for you to buy new toys, kids. That's the whole purpose of that thing. Fuck
So
you,
bad.
Hasbro. And then when they realized nobody gave a shit about the new Transformers, then they brought him back. They brought back Optimus, where all they had to do was like, oh, well, we know where his body is. Let's plug him back in. It's like, what? Even as a kid, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. But anyway, yes, I am back. Thank you very much. All right, what's next?
From Stubble McShave, can a Hollywood or independent studio insure Ezra?
Nobody will.
Yeah, nobody. He'll never get insurance again.
Yeah, no studio, no insurance company will unless it's a premium that a studio is just not willing to pay. Yes, but it's going to be untenable. All right, what's next?
From Dijavi, with regards to Affleck Keaton's contracts, is WB contractually obligated to release The Flash? Would they be walking into a Disney ScarJo situation?
I do not believe they are contractually obligated to release it. But there are probably, because of that ScarJo situation, there are probably new clauses and contracts all over the place. Like, okay, a $5 million bonus automatically triggers if this does not go theatrical or something like that. Like, these are all now things that agents and lawyers and attorneys are absolutely putting in there. So I'll tell you what, there are provisions in those deals. I guarantee you there are provisions in those deals for what happens if we need to do this or that or the other thing. So we will see. But I don't think they're going to be, nobody's going to hold a gun to their head that says you have to put this in theater or else. There's always a way out with money.
I want to know about, like, how does Ezra's representation, his manager, his agents, his lawyer, would they hold Warner Brothers' feet to the fire to get his money? Or would they be, we get it?
I will be surprised if his lawyers, agents, and management haven't dropped them already.
Right, but I mean, they still want to get that money.
Yeah, they're gonna try.
It'd be interesting to see how far does It Ain't Show Friends at Show Business go.
Yeah, well, we'll see. All right, what's next?
From Al Renshaw, I feel bad for Bruno as he is getting shoved and locked into the friend zone so hard by Kamala. He's trying to get her attention so hard.
I'm telling you what, I do not give a shit about little romances and comic book stuff. I am so in on this Kamala Bruno thing. Because Kamran, first of all, that's a handsome kid. That Kamran kid is pretty handsome. Kamran shows up, and all of a sudden she's starry-eyed, and of course she is. She's a teenage girl. It's a good-looking new kid dude in school driving a Porsche, I think it was. Of course he was. I felt so bad for Bruno. I'm like, no, Bruno. Go for Bruno. He loves you. I find myself getting swept up in this thing when I never would get swept up in this stuff in any other comic book property, but I'm getting swept up in it now. All right, what's next?
From South Texas Shark, John, I'm the sickly McPetri dish now.
Yeah,
You're the
I'm the Petri dish now. Like I was saying, like Robert Meyer Burnett is the new Mr. Petri dish because you got sick. I am the Petri dish now. All right, what's next?
From Chef Rigo.
Chef Rigo.
We were just talking about you, Chef. Playing Last of Us 2 for the first time, and I've never understood the saying, you're the enemy in someone else's story better till now. Wow.
No, so that's one of the things that I absolutely loved about that game, right? Like, there's a great saying I heard a while ago referencing what Chef Rigo just said. Like, to really keep yourself balanced, always understand this. No matter how bad things seem, you are the hero in somebody's story. But also balance it out with, you are the villain in somebody else's story. Never forget that every single one of us, including you are the bad guy in somebody's story. You may not realize it, you may not know it, may be justified, may not be justified, but it's a great thing. And yes, that there are so many, narratively speaking, The Last of Us 2, there's a reason why I say it is the single greatest accomplishment in narrative storytelling in video game history. Like, I am so enthralled by everything in that game. The story references that there are consequences to things that happen. There's human casualty and damage that happens in the result of consequences and choices that you make. And it made, like, this whole idea about, our heroes of this story, they totally ruined and destroyed other people's lives. And now this is the story of one of those people and how they perceive things. And I was so enraptured with that approach to storytelling that it's just the most brilliant thing I've seen, Chef Rigo. I'm glad you're playing it. I hope you have a good time with it. All right, what's next?
From Jiang Dai, Erisham appears in the sky, people on the bottom half of the earth. Is that a big red crotch up there? What is going on?
Oh my God. So many questions raised by a giant celestial appearing in the sky over the world. By the way, the MCU has still not addressed it.
No.
Not once has been brought up. Now, then again, I mean, I guess there's a lot of things that have happened in the MCU that haven't been brought up, but that seems to be a pretty big one that should probably get a mention somewhere.
I think they will mention it in Thor: Love and Thunder. I think that's going to be the first time somebody says anything about it.
You might be right.
Because, they've got Asgard. How do the Asgardians that are now on Earth feel about this? They must know something about the Celestials. I could see them I could see them having some great conversation, it's going to be hilarious, whatever it is, when they talk about the Celestials, because I would think that it would warrant a mention at some point.
Yeah, somebody's got to bring it up. All right, what's next?
From Jermaine King, John, I'm glad you're back, but now I'm really going to miss the daily Batman Beyond segment.
Yeah, there are certain things that are done that are no longer part of the show. They'll just have to wait till I'm out again. Actually, by the way, I'm not here on Thursday. Just so you guys know, too.
Oh.
I'm not here on Thursday. I am speaking at YouTube invited me to speak at their annual VidCon conference. So I'm going to be speaking to YouTube creators.
Oh, nice.
And doing a session there on. So I will be out on Thursday. So I guess the Batman Beyond chat is back on Thursday.
We should have a guest Batman Beyond actor.
Ooh.
Come in. Who played Terry McGinnis?
Will Friedle.
There we go. Let's call him up.
All right, what's next?
From Elizabeth Horado, good to have you back, John.
Thank you, Elizabeth. It is really good to be back. All right, what's next?
From Andy, a friend told me there should be a John Cena biopic with Timothy Chalamet as John Cena. I thought it was weird, so I told him, I don't know, man. I can't see it.
Get it there. By the way, speaking of Timothy Chalamet, did you hear that Robert De Niro? No, not Robert De Niro. Al Pacino said that he would want Timothy Chalamet to play him. If he needed somebody to play him, he wants Timothy Chalamet.
I mean, that makes sense.
I mean, again, I've been telling you guys, Timothy Chalamet is the actor who is not Daniel Day-Lewis, but has the potential to be the next Daniel Day-Lewis.
He's incredible.
Yeah, it's sick, and he's just getting better. He's just getting better.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
From Zashawn, please watch the RRR Indian movie. That's my second favorite movie this year after Everything Everywhere All at Once. Just an absolutely wild time. Suspend your disbelief, though.
Listen,
yeah.
I said this before I got sick. I am going to watch. I don't know what else. I don't know if it's or RRR or triple R.
I don't want to tell you the R's stand for words.
Okay, so it's an acronym. Okay, so
Yes.
it's RRR.
Something. You got to watch the movie. I don't want to ruin it. For
I
you.
am absolutely going to sit down and watch this movie this week. Absolutely will. All right, what's next?
From Andres Morin. Hello there, the millions and millions of
And
John Campea
millions.
fans that know you dislike, hate, can't stand Dragon Ball Z. But have you ever seen Dragon Ball Z abridged on YouTube? It's Dragon Ball Z with a little bit of the filthy.
No, and by the way, I don't hate Dragon Ball Z. Like, not at all. It's just, listen, I had a friend when I lived in Saskatoon named David Zebart, one of the absolute funniest people I've ever met in my life. The dude's absolutely hilarious. And he loved Dragon Ball Z. He goes, okay, Campea, we're going to sit down. We're going to watch a bunch of Dragon Ball Z. I'm going to get hooked on this show. I'm like, all right, this is my kind of thing. Let's go. Snooze. Yawn. It's just not for me.
Oh,
That's
no.
all. Like, it's just, I
But
didn't.
their power is over 9,000.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but John, don't you understand? It's over 9,000. Okay, yeah, wow. It's just not for me. That's all.
People are taking
I'm
the
gonna work on
keyboards
my
with the hate.
moves.
They're ready right now.
Yeah,
I'm going to be in your garage. I got to go feel some
Yeah.
rhythm.
I gotta go get the other Zodiacs and work on my moves. I'm too busy for
busy
this.
with the breakdancing. That's all. I'm not dissing the show. I'm not dissing anybody who watches it. It just didn't work for me. Didn't work for me. And listen, it would have been fine too if they came out with a live action film, and if the live action film was great. Ooh, yeah, big
it
swing and a miss
wasn't.
there. That didn't help things very much either.
So bad.
So yeah, but I do not hate Dragon Ball Z. I don't hate Dragon Ball Z. All right, what's next?
Andy, thank you so much to Eric Kripke and Amazon Prime for giving me a naked Jensen Ackles. They're doing the Lord's work. Termite, that's Vot's ass.
I tell you what. I mean, I wasn't here last week. The Boys has not taken its foot off the gas. I have loved every minute. That ending with Butcher's betrayal of Mother's Milk and the deal with the devil with, oh my God, this show just never ceases to shock you, but tell gripping, fantastic story. All along. I just can't believe how good this show is. All right, what's next?
From Scotty Hale. Welcome back, John. Wanted your thoughts on the latest Boys episode and your excitement rate for Herogasm. Welcome back. Happy to be seeing you doing good.
I mean, look, to be honest, I am curious to see what they're going to do with Herogasm. But it's like, the great thing about The Boys is not the shock. I mean, that plays into your overall experience, absolutely. But I mean, yeah, a tiny man running into another man's penis and then blowing him up from the inside. That's just dumb if it's not put into a story and in a show that has great narrative and great characters and they tell it in a great way. Herogasm, yes. Like everybody's like, oh, this is going to be so perverted and filthy. Yeah, okay, yes. But is it wrapped in great narrative? Do they do something? This is the strength of The Boys. They take the shocking, but they wrap it in profoundness in their narrative and their storytelling. And everything shocking they do is always to serve the story. And if they do that with Herogasm, then we got a winner. So we'll see. And we'll see just exactly how filthy they'll go. I don't know. Like, will they go Spartacus level, like orgies filthy? Or, I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think it's gotta be big. We've already seen their sex parties.
Yeah, but these characters, they don't like each other. I have like an interesting. They've all these characters are really delineated differently from one another, and if they all, I can't imagine Starlight suddenly jumping into an orgy situation. I can't imagine anybody wants to pull a train with the Deep because he's such a douche. Like all these, I mean, and the Herogasm storyline was. I just can't see the characters as they are portrayed in this show. I think it's going to be far darker and sinister, and I think some of it's going to have to do with Maeve.
Yeah.
And whatever is going to happen, it's going to be really not fun.
But as we've seen with Maeve and Butcher, you don't have to like somebody to knock boots.
That's
you could
true.
hate somebody and then have a real great time.
That's true.
All right, what's next?
From Jamie Sundays, sending in an almost $20 super chat. Thanks,
Thank
Jamie.
you, Jamie.
If Lightyear was Andy's favorite film, then he's got shitty taste in movies. LOL. But really, I was so disappointed in Lightyear. They should have just gone the route of Toy Story 2's prologue. At least that was fun.
I mean, my wife came home for it almost in tears. She loved it so much. I mean, the ratings and the reviews of it still remain strong. Again, I've only seen the first half hour. The first half hour to me was like Best Picture nomination worthy, but I haven't seen the final hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, they also had the Buzz Lightyear TV series that you can't get anymore. Like it was called Buzz Lightyear of Star Command.
I don't remember that.
It's an animated series that they've basically stricken from the record. You can't get it. You can't find it anywhere. Maybe it's on YouTube or something. But I think that's what a lot of people, people grow up, this franchise, people grow up with it. If you're 25 years old now, how are you Toy Story's been there your entire life. And now I think this movie sort of flies in the face of your established Toy Story canon in a way. Like, I didn't have that marriage to Toy Story.
Yeah.
I loved it when it came out. I think the Toy Story movies are some of the greatest animated films ever made. But when I saw Lightyear, I bought into it. I'm like, great. But I can only imagine if you were like 6 and you saw Toy Story 1, these movies are going to mean a lot more to you than they meant to me.
Yeah.
So Lightyear might be a true transgression. Like, for me, modern Star Trek is what Lightyear must be for a lot of Toy Story fans.
All right, what's next?
From Mr. Hank Dunn, the best option is to reshoot. Swing for the fence.
I mean, again, that is easy to say. It's easy to say, but you're talking well over $100 million. You're talking about 4 months, 5 months. You're talking about trying to reorganize all the other actors' schedules who have other commitments and other things they're doing. You're talking about booking sets and locations that may already being used for other things right now. I mean, it's easy to say, just reshoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it would be a monumental undertaking, unprecedented, not since like the closest thing I can think about is Brad Pitt's World War Z. Like with the amount of reshooting. Now that actually worked out in their favor. They actually ended up with a winner.
Could you see the obvious thing to do? You've got Grant Gustin.
No.
You could never see that happen?
No. Listen, I love Grant Gustin playing the CW version of Barry. I ain't looking for the CW version of Barry on the big screen. Well, you can make him a different Barry. Well, then why does it need to be Grant Gustin? Right? And
you had the Flash
I
TV
like Grant Gustin
series,
very much, but
this becomes the end.
No. Nobody watches the Flash series anymore.
It's true.
Like, if people don't watch the Flash, Barry Gustin's Flash, Barry Gustin. If people won't watch Grant Gustin's, and I am a Grant Gustin fan, and I've loved his shows. I mean, I've fallen off it now, but I will always look back at this CW Flash series with great fondness. I think Grant is a great Flash for that show. But if nobody watches him as Flash when he's free on TV, why would you think for a second that people are going to spend money to go watch him in theaters? And that show gets like what? 2 million viewers?
I was going to say, we figured out
1.2?
more people watch us.
I mean, the interesting thing
More
is
people, this is true. In a month, more people watch the John Campea Show than watch the Flash.
Yeah.
Put it in Chalamet. You've got good cheekbones. Swap them out.
Timothy Chalamet.
That could work. But who else do you put in that role?
Charlie Sheen.
Finally, a non-problematic actor.
Charlie Sheen has a new project. He's working on Doug Ellen, the creator of Entourage, is doing a new show that Charlie Sheen stars in.
And I'm sure that's going to go without a hitch.
Yeah.
Swimmingly.
That's, by the way, the name of the show. It's Without a Hitch.
Without a hitch.
All right,
With
what's
Charlie
next?
Sheen. Hey, Marcellus. Julian Arthur Eyre is a general in the Air Force and is currently the oldest active pilot, F-16, at 64 years old.
Wow.
Someone in the chat had said that Tom Cruise was too old to fly. LOL.
Well, I mean, listen, Tom Cruise is turning 60 here soon. And he did his own flying. So clearly he ain't too old. By the way, did you see the James Corden bit?
Oh, it was hilarious.
Oh,
yeah.
wasn't that good?
I loved it.
Oh,
Loved all the, you're my goose. That does not make me feel good.
That does not make me feel good the way that turned out. All right, what's next?
From Scythius, definitely some mentality out there of not my buzz. So you're not going to take your kids to go see it because of the clouded nostalgic judgment. I kind of went off on a few of my friends for that.
I mean, listen, everybody has their own reasons for why they do or do not like a project or a movie. Now, yes, not my buzz seems like an idiotic thing to me. I'm not going to lie. But there are probably things I've enjoyed for weirder reasons and things I've not enjoyed for weirder reasons. We all have our own stuff that we go to that. And it's like, and I'm sure I heard a lot of people, like, it never stopped right from the moment they announced Chris Evans was doing the voice. I never heard it stop that it should have been Tim Allen. It should have been Tim Allen. But really? Are you going to or not go to see a movie because the person that you can't see on screen anyway is not the person doing the voice for something? That to me seems pretty lame.
Also, I just want to say that, I have a Hot Toys Ed 209, and the voice of my Hot Toys Ed 209 is not the same voice that's from the movie RoboCop. So the idea that Tim Allen is the toy voice of a toy that's based on a movie.
It's so
They
good.
just didn't license Chris Evans, the actor that played Chris Evans in Lightyear. They just didn't license his voice.
You're
They had
saying in canon,
Yeah.
Tim Allen is the knockoff.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
Right.
That's exactly right.
Well,
They wouldn't pay the actor the licensing fee to license his voice or pay him to come in to record for the toy.
And Tim Allen wasn't in the Starfleet show, too, or the Star Command show.
No, right.
That was Patrick Warburton, who
That's-
also voiced the aliens, too.
That's right.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And I did not know. Learn things new here every day. All right, what's next?
From Willie I. Ray fell asleep for 10 minutes during an hour, 40-minute movie. His body won't allow him to exceed 90 minutes.
I'm this is not unusual.
Look,
This is not unusual.
look. Here's the
yeah.
thing. I failed to mention and said, "Oh, you want some dinner?" Because it was a dine-in theater. And I'm like, "Yeah, what they got?" So it got me them chicken strips, and there was a lot. And you don't want to waste food, so you just get a little stuffed, and you get a little tired. What? What's wrong with you people?
I'm not kidding. Any family get together after Ray eats, he's done. Like he's asleep within minutes.
I did also. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna mention the other thing I had too.
Special brownie.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
From Damien, Rob and Ray sell me on for all mankind. That's what they did all last week.
Ooh, it's tough because you know what? It's
Kissing the
like
moon this season.
if I wasn't so hooked after the first season, you just have if you like the first season, then you'll like the rest, is what I'm saying. Because it's not exactly like a fast-paced show, right?
Nope.
And I usually don't like the slow burn shows, but this one works for me for some reason. I think all the elements to it, all the sci-fi elements and going to space or wherever they're going, just intrigues me.
Well,
piques
it's
my
about an
interest.
alternate history. I would say very simply that For All Mankind portrays a world and human beings that we all wish we lived in.
Ooh.
That it shows a history that we wish America had
Yeah.
and a future that we wish America was heading towards.
All right, what's next?
Neat. Ron H. Hey, John, happy you're back. But when we get food talks, Groove and Rob, car in control, hatching plans for stealing breakdance vids and other greatness, we wouldn't mind if you got sick again. Guys, we said we're not talking about our plans to steal things.
He
We
said
said that
the-
in a
he said
very
the quiet
private
part out loud.
conversation.
He said the quiet part out loud.
Did you see the
Quiet
part where we
out loud.
called your mother on live?
What?
No, he didn't, clearly.
Sweet. We're still good.
All right, what's next?
From James. James Woods back as Hades for Hercules. Yay or nay? James Woods actually always is Hades in everything. Like how
I thought you were saying real life. James
I mean,
Woods
in real
is
life,
Hades.
no. I mean, but anytime they need him for like the TV show that they did or the Kingdom Hearts games, or anytime he pops up, this is his favorite role of all time. So he always does the voice.
Really?
Do we want him in a live action film of this?
That's an interesting question. I mean, it depends on, obviously this is either going to be CGI'd or heavy makeup and prosthetics. Let's put it this way. Do I feel like it needs to be James Woods? No. Would I be okay with it being James Woods? Yeah, I'd be okay with it.
He hasn't made a lot of friends in Hollywood lately.
No, he's not.
So,
Like, even
and I'm a
Family
huge
Guy.
fan of his.
Even Family Guy changed the name of the high school because remember it was James
Yep.
Woods High. They even changed the name of the high school in it. And Adam West. All right, what's next?
From Norwegian Kryptonian. One, what if Batfleck Keaton says they don't want to be associated with all this? Two, could investors sue someone for this? Shine on.
No, there's nobody investors can sue for this. I mean, not with what has and has not been done up until this point. Keaton and Affleck, look, we just talked about how professional Affleck is. Like, he was willing to lie to his own audience and all that kind of stuff. It's like, okay, the studio wants to promote their movie. For me to help them promote the movie, I'm going to tell the world that I'm still Batman. I mean, so these are professional dudes. They're going to do what they need to do to promote their film. So I don't see that being an issue.
And if everything is to be believed, Warner Brothers actually did the job they're supposed to do for their shareholders, which is make a great movie.
Yeah. Yeah. And now, like, so if anybody could be sued, it would be Ezra. But again, now we're talking about for some for cause stuff, and that could get a little bit dicey. All right. Good question, though. All right. What's next?
Andy, Vought would be perfect for handling Ezra Miller.
Vought, I'm telling you, Ashley would totally be down for dealing with this situation. No problems. Have it covered up in a lickety split. All right. What's next?
From Jose Garcia, a new batch of allegations have been put forth on Miller this morning. This time, a gun was involved. Forget Flash. This man needs to be behind bars.
Well, I mean, look, you don't say somebody needs to be behind bars for reports and allegations and things like that. And these didn't just come out this morning. There have been, some of these have been floating around for a bit here too. Look, the problem with a lot of us on the internet today is we are not smart enough to know that we don't know everything. It's like we are too quick to jump to concrete opinions on things that we have no access to the actual information on. We hear reports, we can form opinions, but in forming those opinions based on reports, we also have to have a little asterisk for ourselves of saying, but we don't know what's really going on behind the scenes. Like, even if everything I'm hearing is true, there's a possibility that's 10% of the information. Meanwhile, the tip of the iceberg analogy, right? Underneath is 90% of the other information that I don't know. That could change my mind or make me feel the same, even stronger. But we don't know. But it's sufficient to say that nothing we're hearing is good for now. So it's troubling. It's troubling. All right, what's next?
From Matt Sanders. Hey guys, only a few more days for Elvis. How's everyone's hype levels for it? Can't wait to see it. Hope it does well and bring on the filthy. At the box office. Oops, I just decided that we're bringing the filthy with Elvis.
I am beyond excited for this film. I unfortunately had to skip a press screening of it last week because I wasn't feeling well. But yeah, I'm ludicrously excited and bought our tickets for it. So we're going to be going to see it opening night. Honestly, I don't know how great the box office is going to be. I mean, this is a weird looking film. It is a Baz Luhrmann film, so it's going to be weird, but his kind of weird works for me. I'm guessing 40 million opening. I haven't looked at projections. What do you think, Rob?
You know, I don't know enough to make a guess. I might even go under that.
What do you think?
35.
I feel like under. Just because the reviews have been mixed for it, and it's very, very Baz Luhrmann. It looks like it's Baz in the most.
All right,
most
what's
Baz
next?
Luhrmann ever.
From Elizabeth Arado. We also have to factor that many people said they would boycott the film because of Tim Allen not reprising his role and the LGBTQ theme.
Okay, so
There's no theme.
here's the thing. I can't remember the last time a movie came out where I haven't heard somebody saying they're going to boycott the film.
Yeah.
I remember hearing all these people were going to boycott Captain Marvel. They boycotted it all the way to $1 billion. So I don't really pay attention to that. Like, there's always going to be people that do and do not go to a movie for their own particular reasons. I don't think there's anything different about that. And so I really, honestly, I don't attribute much to that. I don't. Do you guys attribute a lot to that? I don't.
I don't think so.
I'm not going to say it had zero impact.
Yeah.
But many things have an impact.
I'm sure some people are sticking to their guns on this, and they're like, well, Tim Allen or bust. I don't know. He's making Michigan ads. He's fine. He's doing fine. He's got all that tool time money coming in still. And then as far as an LGBTQ theme, there's two characters who we see for a few minutes who don't even speak, really. If that's what's keeping you from the movie, I mean, I'm not going to convince you to go see it. So
I mean, it was the same thing with the Batman. I mean, they said, oh, this is a woke movie because one character said one line.
Yeah.
That said, like, something about
was Catwoman's line.
Yeah, what was her line about, like
Old white men.
Old white men or whatever, privileged
Yeah.
white men. Oh, so the rest of the 3 hours is wokeness. It's woke. Shut the hell up.
Yeah.
It was a good movie.
By the
It
way,
made
she
a lot of
wasn't
money.
wrong. It was a true
Right?
statement
It
she
was
made.
a true statement.
I still, we rewatched Lord of the Rings: Return of the King recently for a movie club, and I cannot, like, if that movie were to come out today, that just based on the one line when she says to the Nazgul and says, "I am no man," and kills him. Oh my God. That group of people today would have been like, if that movie had come out today, because of that one line, it just would have been, you never would have heard the end of it. Anyway, all right, what's next?
Tolkien had an agenda. All right. From Al Renshaw. After hearing about Bollywood in recent Ms. Marvel episode, how likely do you think it is that we get a cameo from Kaman Ajian? Eternals connection?
Well, listen, first of all, the Kingo gag, I laughed
So good.
really hard at the Kingo gag. Why not? Like, why not have Kingo make an appearance? I could, well, no, because the end of Eternals, it makes sense. But maybe seeing Kingo on screen, like they're watching a Kingo movie or something. What do you think?
I think I would be surprised if that doesn't happen. You know, or the movie that they were shooting in Eternals is actually being broadcast on TV finally. Yeah. I think that could be great.
That would be hilarious.
Camille's basically living his best life right now too. Just like, I get to be in all the fandoms I love. So I could totally see him being like, guys, I will do a Bollywood film for you to put here.
Yeah.
Give me that opportunity.
All right, what's next?
From Johnny Skywatcher. Hi John, love this show. Disney's own animated films that have released in theaters, Raya and Encanto, have not done that well either. Most people discovered Encanto when it was on streaming.
Well, now, of course, you're talking about films that were more right in the heart of the pandemic and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, any movie that came out during that time, you got to take with a giant grain of salt. I kind of like, that's why when Lightyear comes out, I like comparing it more to those films like Sing 2, The Bad Guys. That's a little bit more comparable to draw some contrast with.
Yeah.
And again, compared to those, Lightyear did double the business that those did. And again, Sing 2 went on to make $400 million. So, like, we'll see what happens. There is still a reality here where Buzz Lightyear can still make $700+ million at the box office. That's right in line. That's actually a little bit more conservative than Sing 2's projections were. So, but maybe it will, maybe it won't. We'll have to find out. All right, what's next?
From Zashawn, hyped for Herogasm over Obi-Wan finale this week. Same.
There are several things I'm looking forward to over Obi-Wan's finale this week.
I got to take my car in to get serviced. You know?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I never would have believed I would have said this 6 weeks ago. I'm not excited for the Obi-Wan finale.
Well, if you had to pick either or, which is going to have a better climax?
Oh.
That would be Herogasm. Yes, that would be Herogasm. All right, what's next?
From Collins E. At $200 million, Lightyear cost more than Top Gun, a movie that used actual fighter jets, an irresponsible budget.
I think any animated movie going over $200 million is an irresponsible budget. Yes. There's no need for it. You know, it does not have, I get it. Pixar is always pushing the envelope, always trying new things. A lot of that expense comes from brand new software development, and like that's where a lot of that expense comes from. But I mean, no, there's no reason for that movie to be $200 million. And this is a problem that's not just with Pixar. This is a problem with a lot of different studios. It's a system-wide problem. Studios spend too much money. Most studios spend too much money on a lot of their movies. So this is no different. All right, what's next?
From Sully, Rob, you are 100% right. Ms. Marvel makes me freak out every 2 minutes to their 100% accurate representation of my life. I love this show.
I mean, you know what? That alone proves that there's something going on here that's valuable. That not a lot of, like, I would never know that. But the family representation, the Pakistani Muslim family in this movie, the accurate representation means a lot to a lot of people. And that, I love when that happens. That's a testament to great writing.
But here's the beautiful part about it too. As far as its representation goes, it does the same thing that Turning Red reminded me of. That we're looking at a completely different culture.
Yeah.
But it's the same story.
Yes.
I have the Illuminantes. Sue, Maria, Pina, Lenora, Linnea, like my Italian aunts, that's the Illuminantes.
Yep.
Like the struggles in high school. Yes, she's a Muslim girl in high school, but she's having problems that we identify with. The discussions at the dinner table. It's a different cultural background, but we've had those discussions. That's one of the things I love about this show so much, is that we're seeing it's a different world, but it's the same reality. And I love that for
I
it.
also think that's part of the appeal.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things I love watching movies like that or watching shows like that, and that's why I love Kim's Convenience, because it's about a Korean family. Parasite, an actual Korean film. I think that's one of the great appeals of storytelling, is that we see both a new culture, but also the universality that all cultures have a certain connection.
All right, what's next?
From Harv's K. Welcome back, John.
Thank you.
Were you able to catch up on any TV or movies during that downtime?
No, I was down. I was just down. I would sometimes sit outside just get some fresh air and stuff like that, but I really didn't. And when I was watching stuff, it was like little short bursts, like just some YouTube tech videos and things like that. But no, I was pretty much taking it really, really easy. All right, what's next?
From Suthius, y'all follow Vaughn on Instagram? I highly recommend it. A lot of fun posts, including full-length music videos for Crimson Countess's Chimps Don't Cry.
Oh my God.
The marketing for this is genius. Across the board, they do such great stuff.
Well, even just like their YouTube video stuff, they're like 7-on-7, their news reports and things like that. And it's just like they've done a really good job taking advantage of the free ways to market and promote. And so, yeah, they're doing such a great job on that.
Are you
stuff.
following them on Instagram?
I have not. I didn't even know they had an Instagram account.
Are you gonna follow them before you follow Rob?
Probably, yes. Unless Rob suddenly starts putting Crimson Countess on his Instagram page, I'm probably going to follow it.
Yeah, no, I don't want to get a strike or anything.
All right, what's next?
From Stubble McShave. The Dream Palace Philosophers. Oh, for the show.
Yeah. Full marks to you, Stubble, for trying to be creative, though. I give you that. All right, what's next?
I like that as a band.
From Andrew Rice. John, as a good Canadian kid, have you seen good Canadian comedies, Trailer Park Boys or Letterkenny? Thoughts?
We've spoken about both several times on the show. I mean, Trailer Park Boys, I mean, that's going back. I mean, that's been around like Goggles and everything like that. Like, it's some pretty hilarious stuff. Letterkenny, I discovered a couple of years ago. I introduced you to Letterkenny.
Dude, it's so good. But by the way, I have not watched, there's like 10 seasons of it.
Yeah.
I have not watched all of it. I watched a lot of it.
And now there's a spinoff.
Yeah. Yes.
The Shoresy show.
Shoresy. Yeah.
Yeah, Shoresy, which I would get to it, but it was a lot. I did a real intense deep dive into Letterkenny, which, by the way, I recommend because it's hilarious. Hilarious.
I love it.
Why is Canada's making the best comedy stuff right now?
They really are.
Between Schitt's Creek,
Kim's Convenience.
Letterkenny. I mean, they're just making the best stuff. This
love
low
them.
budget Canadian.
You're a wacky bunch
Yep.
Yeah.
up
All right.
north.
What's next?
From Eric, Mr. Rare Air. They should just put out The Flash with a message at the beginning of the film. We here at WB don't associate with Ezra, etc., etc.
No. Like, whatever they decide to do. Look, there's also got to be an understanding amongst film fans. Ezra Miller is one individual amongst thousands who made this film. Ezra didn't write it. Ezra didn't finance it. Ezra didn't direct it. Ezra is a hired actor who was hired to stand in front of a camera and recite the lines that somebody else wrote. And I don't say that as a way to diminish the importance of actors. Not at all. I'm just saying that we have to understand and keep in perspective that they were one person who was hired to perform a role in this film, just like the person who was hired to come in and make sure that the lighting grids were all set up properly, like the people who were paid to come in to make sure that the sets were painted the right colors, like the people who wrote the scripts or anything like that. They are one individual amongst hundreds or thousands of people who made that movie. And yeah, I mean, we got to just keep that in mind. That's all I'm saying. All right, what's next?
From Joel, will the Flash character still continue in the movies eventually with a new actor?
I have no doubt.
Yeah.
The Flash is too important of a character to the MCU, right? Like, I have zero doubt. We will definitely see the Flash continue. Definitely with another performer playing the role, though.
The DC extended universe.
The DC extended universe, yes. All right, what's next?
From Andy, watching The Boys Season 3 made me realize that this is the first time I've seen Jensen Ackles on screen since Supernatural ended in November 2020. I'm crying now.
You know what? I think you're right. I don't think I've seen, now obviously after the run of Supernatural, Jensen probably wanted a break for a while.
Yeah.
Like probably a good while. Because he's still, like having had a successful 15 season show, he's still really young. Like what, he just turned 40?
I believe so.
Like he's still really young. So he's got a long career ahead of him. So I wouldn't doubt at all if he decided to take a year or two and said, screw it. Like he got married during Supernatural. It's like, this is going to be the first time me and my new wife are have a life without Supernatural. Like not doubt at all, but it is good to see
he
him
made
back.
a lot of money.
Yeah.
15 years on TV is a lot of cash.
He's been making music. He's been doing voiceover stuff too. He's trying out other things.
Yeah. He's really good. By the way, voice of
Jason Todd.
Jason Todd. Yeah. In one of my favorite DC animated
Yeah.
films.
And then
All
he
right.
usually dresses as them for Halloween, which is super fun.
Oh, I've never seen
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it's
Ooh,
really
cool.
good.
All right, what's next?
From Dr. J sending in a $21 super chat.
Thank you, Dr. J.
I presumed the Herogasm would be the most shocking thing I saw this week, but then I caught Robert Burnett's Skinamax style XFL commercials, and everything changed. Bravo, Rob. But today, you wouldn't get canceled. You'd get lynched.
When you were gone, I talked about my short stint working for Vince McMahon, when they were doing the XFL, and how I ended up producing and voicing the XFL cheerleader commercials. And I had made a video of those commercials and an explanation about 2 years ago. It's on the YouTube channel. So I told anybody to, if you want, you can go see them. They aired on NBC.
The XFL, such a great idea, executed so badly.
You have to get good football players.
Yeah, start there.
You got to get good players.
And then just make a good game. Don't make the game a gimmick. And like, it was like you said, it was a good idea. All right, what's next?
From Dan's production. So why is FX, Netflix, and Prime doing such a great job with their series, and Disney is not taking the time with their shows?
Here's the thing. Like, I was thinking about this the other day. Like, it's not just the runtime of the episodes. Like, I continue to be frustrated with Disney Plus and stuff like that, right? Other networks seem to take the time to write fully fleshed out narratives with multiple interesting characters. It seems like the Disney Plus shows are like, well, this show's called The Mandalorian. Every scene's got to have The Mandalorian in it, right? When you go and look at shows like Sons of Anarchy, Breaking Bad, Yellowstone, Succession, like you look at all these great things, right? Yes, you've got, this is your main character, sure, but 3/4 of the show can take place away from that main character because you have fleshed out, developed, great story and characters. And it's like with Obi-Wan, like Disney Plus viewers are so conditioned to that now that when Reva has a couple of scenes, everybody's like, well, this is the Reva show. It's like, no, Obi-Wan still has more screen time. But we're so conditioned on these Disney Plus shows that the shows are only about the main character. Whereas all the other truly great shows going on, Stranger Things, I mean, you just go on and on and on. It's a story populated with great, well-written characters, with subplots going on and things like that. And that's something that the Marvel shows seem to be missing. And that's why maybe they feel so short. They feel so unsatisfying. Again, other than WandaVision, but yeah, I don't know. That maybe that's it. Maybe it's not. I don't know. All right, what's next?
From Sam Fisher, one of two. I really hope he is Hercules and not Heracles and not Hercules. Or the gods are Jupiter, Pluto, and Juno, not Zeus, Hades, and Hera. Pick Roman names or Greek names. Don't use the Greek names for everyone but your main character. That's my biggest issue with the animated. Don't do it for the LA.
That's a good point, Sam.
Yeah, I mean,
fair.
look, they're going to do it the way they did in the animated film.
Yeah.
This is clearly, they've said it, this is going to be the live action adaptation of the animated film. Probably also means musical, so they're probably going to, but that is a very good point to raise up, actually. All right, what's next?
From South Texas Shark. So Batman Beyond. Oh, John is back.
Yep, now just kill that bullshit right now.
Till
Get
Thursday.
rid of that nonsense.
On Thursday, we're
Till
going to talk
Thursday,
about
till I'm
Terry
out again on
McGinnis so
Thursday.
much.
All right, what's next?
From John Wicked, has sent a super chat. Hey,
Thank you.
Virton03 sending in support.
Thank you.
Double McShave. Do you think the Willem scream is used too much?
No, I think most people don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
So no, I say use it more. I get a kick whenever I recognize it. I'm sure
Yeah.
it's probably used 20 or 30 times that I don't even recognize it's being used.
Sometimes it's used really well too. It absolutely fits.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't like it when they push it. They like just add it in there, and if somebody's fallen off a really high perch or down into a chasm or something, it works. Sometimes they put it in, I'm like, doesn't work.
All right, what's next?
From Joe for Show. Why is Thor Love and Thunder so far away? I hope the crew is doing well this Monday morning. I believe there will be a huge cameo in Thor. Anyone else agree?
I mean, look, I still believe there's a possibility that Beta Ray Bill shows up in Thor Love and Thunder.
That's all I want.
I mean, I think a lot of people are looking forward to that.
I love it.
Other than that, not sure. Listen, it's close. The movie's less than a month away now.
Yeah.
I mean, no, what's it, like 2 weeks away? Two and a half weeks
It's
away?
July 8th. Is that when it
Is it
comes
the
out?
8th?
So it's 3 weeks.
Like a little under 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's close. It's getting close. I don't know if whether there's gonna be another trailer. I know I won't bet Ray on it, but hopefully there'll be another trailer. All
Talk
right,
about
what's next?
Herogasm.
From Roy L. Went to Fan Expo Dallas this weekend and got to meet the cast of Dexter and the cast of Superman and Lois. Still on cloud 9.
Yeah, that's a convention that has been growing. I've heard about that. I've actually had a few people write to me and say I should come down to that one. So maybe
Yeah.
next year I might maybe make a trip down.
Yay, Texas.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
From A. Marcellus. Ray, is Snorlax your spirit Pokemon? You're both sleepy. LOL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He even looks like Snorlax.
He does look like Snorlax. Yes, he does.
I didn't even think about that before.
See?
All right, what's
I should
next?
just sleep all day.
From Christy George. Do you think Pixar should look at myths from other cultures for new movies?
No, look, you just wherever a storyteller gets her inspiration from is fine with me. It doesn't have to be from this source, that source, whatever. And ultimately, really, I say this all the time. People hate it when I say it, but it's the truth. It doesn't matter where you get your initial story idea from. Do you write it well? It's like comic book villains. You can put Dr. Doom in something. That doesn't mean it's going to be good. They've put Dr. Doom in a lot of movies. It just, do you have a great idea for a story and then do you execute it and flesh it out well?
But I mean, they have been. Look at Coco. You know, and what was the movie that just came out?
Luca?
Luca. You know, and they've delved into other cultures.
Yeah,
I mean,
they go around a lot.
and they do a beautiful job of it.
All right, what's next?
From Al Renshaw. Just pre-ordered the Dragon Ball Super Blu-ray Complete Series Limited Edition on Crunchyroll. So excited.
That-
so excited.
Yeah.
Now, hang on. Before you make fun, I saw. Now, I'm not going to buy it because it's not my thing. But that set, if it's the one I saw, it's got the steel books. It's pretty cool. Like as far as physical media goes, I'm like, wow, that's not cheap. They spent some money, so you go right ahead, buy that.
And
Well,
by
you
the way,
did.
I'm joking around. If you're excited about it, I'm excited for you. I
It's
think
pretty
that's great.
cool. I mean, I looked
Because
at
if
it.
I
was like,
suddenly got a big set thing of like Space Battleship Yamato or Star Blazers, I would probably geek the hell out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody else would care.
it's
but I
pretty
would geek
cool.
out.
That set, it gave me pause. I actually stopped and was like, what's this? You know, and looked in it. I'm like, oh, I wouldn't buy it, but it's cool.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
From Fredo.
Fredo Falcos.
Hey, John. Great to have you back. What's your thoughts on Calvin versus Josh on Saturday? I believe Calvin won, but great UFC card.
I didn't. I thought it was close, tight. I think the decision went the right way. It was a split decision. It's just one of the. I love watching these fights where afterwards you can just tell these two warriors were in a battle. Did you see the post-fight conference? He's sitting there. He won. He's smiling, laughing. His face looked like cauliflower, like multicolored cauliflower. Like half of his face was all like bubbled up from welts, and his eye was completely sealed shut on the one side. He was like Two-Face. If you like did this, you'd think, oh, he looks perfectly fine. It's like, oh my God. Like I love it. I thought the decision went the right way. All right, what's next?
From Jamie Sundays. Now that the offer's finished, I loved
It was
it.
so good. By the way, from now on, when anybody asks, and we've been asked for years, what's the difference between a producer and a director on a movie? I'm just going to say, go watch The Offer.
Yeah.
Go watch The Offer. I mean,
They did a really good job illustrating what a producer does.
Yeah.
A working producer.
Yeah. The actual functional producer.
And by the way, I wish that I had a Juno Temple in my life. She was amazing.
Oh, wasn't she so good in that?
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
But the real question is, what does an associate producer do?
Yeah, that's more nebulous. All right, what's next?
From Film Code Podcast. Welcome back, John. Was there anything that was discussed while you were gone that you have thoughts on?
I'm probably many things. I still even remember the first day. I still wrote the show notes for the first show that I was gone. I'm like, oh, I wanted to be there to talk about that and whatever. But it's all good. But like every day, I mean, but it's my DNA.
What about Kenobi? I was really interested to hear your thoughts on the last episode.
I didn't think it was great, but I thought it was a definite improvement over the previous episode. Again, just like that one episode where he's force choking Obi-Wan from that distance and drags him through fire. But now there's more fire and Obi-Wan's getting away, but he can't force grab him now. Like there's a ship. Okay. Awesome scene. Comes in, grabs the ship, uses the force. Oh, now that other ship is taking off. Oh, well, I used my one force grab today. I have a limit of one force grab per day. It's like, why didn't he just grab that? Oh, wait, why were the stormtroopers just standing around firing at the door for 15 minutes when Reva at any moment could just walk up and go and be done? I mean, why was she sending a Jedi Knight general off with just 2 stormtroopers guarding him? It just, look, I enjoyed it. I liked the last episode. I did. I liked it. Big step up over the previous one, but not enough to make me excited for the finale. I really hope the finale can crush it, but I don't have a lot of hope at this point.
Can you weigh in on our most heated discussion we had?
What's that?
How do you cook your Pop-Tart?
I have never had a Pop-Tart.
Of course, that was the answer.
Have you had a strudel?
A toaster strudel.
A toaster strudel?
debate
I've never
goes
had a
on.
toaster strudel.
Dang. Man,
Here,
Canada.
part of the reason why I don't like fruit in pastries at all.
Oh, but see, you can get a s'more.
You could do a s'mores one.
They have chocolate and cinnamon.
Yeah.
I could do that one. I could do that
Okay.
one. The only pie I
More
eat are
tea
like
s'mores.
coconut cream pie or ice cream pie or lemon meringue pie.
Yeah.
Lemon.
Man, you
lemon-
really hate fruits and vegetables.
I definitely not in my pastries. Dedefinitely not in my pastries.
We
Wow,
could
we're
do,
gonna have to
we
get
could
you
do a
some
separate
Pop-Tarts.
video where John tries the both and compares, and it'll
there
be
we
the final
go.
word.
The final word.
Wow,
of
we should do
Final
a
Pop-Tart.
word.
Pop-Tart comparison video.
Ooh.
All of us.
It's
you
like
know?
me doing a beer comparison video. I remember once, like my friends took me out in San Diego and they're like, here, we're going to get you a flight of beers. I'm like, all right.
Tastes
It's
like liquid
Sip
weed.
1, that tastes like beer. Sip 2, that tastes like beer. Like I'm not a beer guy, like at
That's
all.
fair.
All right. Sorry, we were already overtime. We got to wrap this up. So let's keep going here. What's next?
Seconds from Disaster. Welcome back, John.
Thank you.
Just wanted to share that my son was born about 30 minutes before the show started.
Wow.
Wow.
8-pound, 3-ounce boy named Derek. Love the show. Thanks for the daily entertainment, my friends.
Well, first of all, congratulations
Wow, that's great.
to you and your partner for the birth of your son. And made sure
Yay.
got here on time for the John Campea Show, which is very courteous of your new child, which is a good way to start.
Yeah.
Like seriously, that is an amazing thing. Congratulations to you and your partner so much, and hopefully that your little one is healthy and will have a bright, wonderful future. And you're starting them off right with the John Campea Show.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
From Al Renshaw, will you guys be getting a Socks the Cat toy plush Funko Pop? Disney is going to make all the money with the figure.
I only saw 30 minutes in the movie. I hate cats. Cats are a plague. I loved that cat. I am absolutely I'm going to buy a pop. I'm going to buy, Anne's going to want plushy toys around the house. I'm definitely going to buy figures of that thing because that cat was amazing. I loved it.
You know, Hot Toys announced that they're doing a 6 scale Buzz from Lightyear,
Oh yeah, I saw
and
it.
it comes with the socks.
Really?
So they're making a 6 scale socks.
I might have to get that. All right, what's next?
From Zelda Master 702, when you think what you're about to do might be wrong, just ask yourself, WWEMD, what would Ezra Miller do? The answer is what you're doing. Stop.
Yeah.
That's good advice.
It is.
I still, to me, like we've heard some dark things, but the one real what the hell are you doing moment was when I saw that social media post. You'll never find me. I'm in another universe. I'm
That's
like,
wild.
you really are. You really are. I just don't want to, like, at some point, somebody says, what is going to be gained from posting that? Like, what is your optimal outcome from posting that? You think people are going to rally to your side of posting that? I mean, I don't get it. All right, what's next?
From Ulatan, Ms. Marvel is delightful. It's a fresh perspective sprinkled with a sense of innocence and hope that is needed today, especially for jaded adults.
And it's ridiculously funny. It's incredibly warm. Beautifully. That scene, again, not a scene that's really for me, but after meeting or having the evening out with Kamran and she comes home and she breaks into that musical number and she's dancing around. I'm just like, I love her.
Yeah.
I love her. I love this show so much. There's so much good about this show. I'm just absolutely delightful in it. All right, what's next?
From Ryko79, we waited 35 years for technology to catch up to our vision for Dirty Dancing 2. We needed to be able to place IMAX cameras on our dancers' feet and pelvic regions. Chaz Cruz, producer.
It's time. No, by the way, there was a Dirty Dancing 2. Wasn't it
Yeah.
like Havana Nights?
Yeah.
Remember that? Like Dirty Dancing. That's the forbidden dance.
But it's not about baby. This one's about baby.
Wasn't that Lambada? Was it
Lambada was the
Lambada, the
dance.
forbidden dance.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Cinematic history being made here.
It was no Breaking 2.
There's no breaking two. All right, what's next?
From Mike Joyce, anyone seen or plan on seeing Marcel the Shell? It's getting rave reviews. I can't wait. I love
I'm
that
not even
little
familiar
shell.
with it.
It's the Jenny Slate little shell with shoes on. Marcel the
Oh,
Shell with
yeah,
shoes
yeah,
on.
yeah.
He just runs around and he talks like this. And he's just a real small little guy.
I love her.
She's the best. I think she's so wonderful. I love anything she does. But look up some Marcel the Shell videos.
Yeah,
They're so
All
I've
right.
seen those. They're really good.
yeah.
All right, I'm going to have to check that out. All right, what's next?
From Brian O'Neill Singleton, sending in a $20 super
Thank you,
chat.
Brian.
Thank you, Brian. And Brian messaged me that there's only one part
Yeah.
here. Good to have you back, John, and feeling better. Outstanding hosting by Chris. Oh my gosh, thanks. The WB must be cursed with problematic talent. Ezra doing a disappearing act and Amber's being boycotted. Will WB ever get its act together?
Listen, there is something that's just a reality, and I've talked to other people about this too. When you're an employer, you have no control over what the people who work with you do. You just don't.
I mean, just look at our show when John was gone.
Yeah, when everything went to hell, and I'm just laying at home going, well, it is what it is. No, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, so, and let's not pretend that Warner Brothers has cornered the market on having talent associated with them that, behaves badly.
Yeah.
It ain't. I mean, this is a problem with all of them, and it's just something that's a little bit outside of your control, which is why I said, like last year, I think moving forward, you're going to start seeing studios do a lot more vetting of actors they're bringing into their universes, because these actors, and if things come up from their past or whatever, it's going to start to affect their stuff. So yeah, it's not a Warner Brothers problem. It's the whole industry problem. It really is. All right, what's next?
From Sam Fisher, also Danny DeVito for live action Phil. Yes.
Live action Phil?
For Hercules. He's Phil at
Oh,
TT's.
that's right.
He's the trainer.
Yes. That was, I love Danny DeVito so much. All right, what's next?
From Jeff Yerke, sending in a $20 super chat.
Thank you, Jeff.
Hi, John and crew. Just here to support the show with me and my wife, Mrs. Yerke.
Gotta
Love
give
and
big,
hugs.
big shouts out. The Yerke family is one of the great consumers of our shows.
Aw.
Mr. and
well-
Mrs. They are great people.
Well, it's always nice when people just want to write in for no other reason than to say something encouraging.
Yeah.
So thank you for that, man. That makes our day. Thank you very much. All right, what's next?
From Andres Morin. By the way, your tat is sick. Sick tat, bro.
Yeah, a little. There you go. It's filth. It's actually filthy. You can't read it, but it's actually filthy. All right, what's next?
From Reviewed by Nick. Hey, guys, so I just want to say that I have no interest in the Flash movie anymore. I just can't watch it with Ezra.
Here's the thing. I've been there. I've said that about a movie before. It's like with this, like that has tons of drama behind it. Say, I'm over that movie. And then the movie comes out, and I end up watching it anyway. So, I mean, but it's tough. It is tough. And as much as we like to, in theory, say we separate the art from the artist, it's easy to say in theory. But it can then be difficult to go in and watch, especially when it's, the person who's going to be on camera more than anybody else. It's going to be a little bit challenging, but I think there's probably going to be a lot of people that probably say, like really feel right now, it's like, I think I'm over this Flash movie. Yeah, but then that last trailer comes out and we see Michael Keaton beating the shit out of some people in the Batman costume, and all of a sudden we're like, well, maybe I'll go see it. So, I mean, I don't know. I think you're not alone, man. I think a lot of people are finding themselves in the same position like this right now, and we'll see how it all kind of evolves from here.
It'll probably eventually go to HBO Max, right?
Well, eventually,
If
the
it
question
does
is,
release in theaters, it'll eventually go on HBO
well,
Max.
yeah, everything Warner Brothers
Yeah,
eventually goes to HBO Max.
You
So.
can't stream something that's not real, Ray.
Oh,
It's still not real.
you're right.
No matter where you say you're putting it, it's still not real. All right, what's next?
Man, that's what she said moment, but we'll move on.
Then we're ending with some support from Marie, Billy D, and Fangblaze71. And then we have a few more member things, right, Ray?
Yeah, I do. I do have a couple here. Let me open them up. Just give me a second.
Thank you for your support, you guys. We appreciate you.
Okay, I got one from Chase Scott again. He says, unfortunately, Lightyear didn't work for me, and my group of 6 started strong, then slowly got worse with a disappointing ending.
It's too bad because that first half hour is the only thing that I've seen.
Good, yeah.
That first half hour is so damn good.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll see. All right, what's next?
Good, no, and he says, good voice work. Overhearing others as they walked out, the trend was negative there too.
It's funny because the cinema score is quite strong. It's got like an A- cinema score, stuff like that. So, but again, I'm going to see it tonight. I'll be able to give my thoughts on it tomorrow once I do.
Okay, and Planted Goldies writes, do you think the Human Torch would qualify for a brand new 2013 Kia Sportage with all the bells and whistles and 0% APR over 12 months? No idea what that means.
Okay, well, thank you, Pontiac. All right, guys.
And then I got one from Mike Farino. I will not watch the movie in theater unless they announce beforehand Ezra is out as the Flash officially. If they do, I will watch it, whether they remove Ezra or not. But they have to officially announce they are done with Ezra.
Well, here's the thing. They won't. And you're not going to like hearing this. It would be the wrong move to do that before the movie. Like, look, first they got to decide what they're doing with the film. If they've decided they are going to just bite the bullet, put it in theaters, recoup what they can from it, and then be done with it.
Yeah.
If they decide to put it in theaters, they will not officially announce that they've parted ways with Ezra Miller any more than the same reason they didn't officially announce that Ben Affleck was no longer going to be Batman before Justice League came out. Because if you come out, hey, we got this movie coming out next week. By the way, we fired the lead actor. He's not going to be in our movies anymore. That kills it even more. If they decide to put it on HBO Max, then I would expect to hear an announcement before it drops on HBO Max. Yeah, we have parted ways. But if they put it in theaters, so not only do I think they won't make that announcement if they put it in theaters, it would actually be the wrong move business-wise to make that announcement before it comes in theaters. I think you'd then hear the announcement sometimes after that.
And I got one last one from Do Ray. He says, a score can really have a different effect on a movie scene depending on the music. It hit me when I watched Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. You are the best crew.
Oh, well, thanks so much. And yet, listen, the right music and the right scene in a movie can make all the difference in the world. Like to that moment, like that music that plays, and to me, the greatest scene in movie history, the Vader-Luke confrontation in the Emperor's throne room, that music that plays is there, like, and that dramatic music kills it. Or Portals in Endgame.
That's a great piece of music.
Yeah, that music is playing just heightens everything. You can make all the difference in the world.
And he's referring to that piano scene, right? In Multiverse.
Probably.
I doubt it.
It was.
You think? I doubt it. I think it's probably more of a score
that's what I
thing.
assumed he was talking about. I don't know.
Might have been something else. All right, guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making this show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in those super chats. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the John Campea Show. Thank you guys so much for your support. There is a mailbag coming a little bit later today. Keep your guys' eyes open for that. I want to thank everybody in the room with me. Robert Meyer Burnett, Chris Carr, Ray Ora, producer Jonathan Voico. I'm John Campea. That'll do it for us for now, guys. Thanks a lot for being here. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.